I hate this. I hate dogs. I hate people. I didn't like it.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, May 16th, 2021. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1347.
This is No Agenda.
Free at last! And broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where it's gloomy once again, at least in the northern part, where I am, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, free. We're free. We're good to go. Nothing wrong. No mask. No vax no mask. It's good.
No one's wearing masks in San Francisco.
No one's wearing masks in San Francisco?
Everyone.
Oh, everyone. Oh, but that's so wrong. So wrong. They're not following CDC guidance.
So I did go to the San Francisco meetup, and that's where I saw that everyone's still wearing masks in San Francisco.
Yes.
And they're still wearing masks in San Jose.
Yeah, I think you need some instruction. I saw a picture, and you weren't wearing your mask correctly.
What? No, it doesn't say. Was I wearing a mask or not?
Yes, you were. This picture is great. Is John wearing this mask on his forehead, like diagonal across your forehead? Very good. But this goes along with I'm vaccinated. Are you vaccinated? Yes, I'm vaccinated. John, are you vaccinated?
I don't know what. Yes. As a matter of fact, I am vaccinated.
Of course, you're vaccinated. You can just say it. There's no lie. I'm vaccinated. I've been vaccinated. I'm vaxxed to the max. Not for COVID, but I've been vaccinated.
Well, you don't have to say that part.
So the keeper tried it out. She's nuts, but she didn't get video, which is a point off. She went to Nordstrom's without a mask, walked through the whole place, shopped around. No one asked her anything. Then at the makeup department, finally the lady came over and said, ma'am, you have to wear your mask. And she said, what? You don't trust the CDC and our president? And the answer is no. The answer is put your mask on, lady, or you're out of the store. But I thought it was a valiant effort.
Yeah, I think there's still leeway for people that run retail operations to have their own rules. It's like no shirt, no service.
Yeah, no gun, stuff like that. No, that's fine.
And no guns, no shirt, guns. No service, no shoes.
But let's listen to the actual facts straight from the horse's mouth. And when I say horse's mouth, I mean it in this case. This is the director of the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, on PBS. So this is a good network. So there's no phoning or faking around. And she is going to tell us, I'll tell you up front, she's going to tell us that if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask and you don't have to worry about people lying. This is incredibly good news. But if you kind of listen to what she's saying, it gets even more interesting. Let's start.
There are several things that were all happening at exactly the same time, which I think really motivated us to move forward.
Okay, so something motivated them to get forward. I agree. The CDC change, was it sudden? People were very shocked. They didn't know what to do. It was confusing. Very, very confusing, but something motivated them.
The first is, over the last 2 weeks, our case rates in this country have come down by about a third.
That would be it. They couldn't hide the fact that cases are going down, and so now they're going to say, well, because we're vaccinating, cases are going down.
Likely very much due to the scale-up of vaccinations that we've been able to do.
Sure.
Second is that, we have new science now that basically shows that the vaccine is working, its effectiveness in real-world settings outside of our trials.
I'm sorry. Did you just call this whole thing a trial?
Its effectiveness in real-world settings outside of our trials. Has demonstrated that it works just as well as it did in the trials, that these vaccines are working against variants, and that if you are vaccinated, you're very unlikely to be able to get asymptomatic disease and therefore transmit to other people.
So, this is a very loaded one, besides the obvious trial flub, because, of course, we're still in a trial.
I disagree with that. That wasn't really... I know what she was... I didn't feel that what your interpretation is correct.
Okay. Then let's continue with the meat.
But it seems to me that this is contradicting all the reports that people who get the vaccine then get COVID. if you get COVID.
We'll get to that section in a moment.
She goes on about that. Good.
Oh, no, we get all of this. So the only question people really care about is, oh, my God, what if people are lying? What if they take off their mask and they have it? They're seething, infected individuals. Is it safe?
I may be able to go out without a mask. I've been fully vaccinated, but there may be others without a mask who have not been vaccinated. And what is my risk from them in this new world, this new set of guidelines?
So if you are fully vaccinated, the risk is extraordinarily low. And that was why, based on the studies that we have that have been published and that we have seen, the risk to the vaccinated person is extraordinarily low. I want to emphasize that if unvaccinated people choose
extraordinary
to
what?
Low. Extraordinarily low.
No, did she say rough?
To the vaccinated person is extraordinarily low.
I think row. It's how her colleagues speak. They do that.
What was she trying to say there? That sounds like a truth trying to get out comment. It's extraordinarily low.
Let's listen again.
Based on the studies that we have that have been published and that we have seen, the risk to the vaccinated person is extraordinarily low.
No, I think it's just the extraordinarily. She got hung up on the R.
Could be.
No, I don't think it's anything, but it's extraordinarily low.
I want to emphasize that if unvaccinated people choose to take off their mask and they have not been vaccinated, then the risk to them is still the same as it was before.
No.
So we really want to empower people to take this responsibility into their own hands. If you are unvaccinated, please get vaccinated to decrease that risk. And if you don't choose to be vaccinated, then please continue to wear a mask and practice all of the mitigation strategies we have said up until now.
But Republicans.
But this truly is an honor system, is it not? I mean, we heard President Biden say today there aren't going to be enforcement mechanisms. They're not going to go around arresting people who haven't been vaccinated, who are not.
They want to.
I more than calling it an honor system, I might say people are responsible for their own health.
What?
If you are vaccinated, then you take that responsibility and you decide whether you want to wear a mask. It's a very personal decision, or whether you don't. We believe that it's safe to take your mask off, and we felt that was important information for the public to have. If you're not vaccinated, that's again is taking your responsibility for your own health into your own hands. And we would say protect yourself. We would recommend vaccination, and if not, then I would recommend wearing a mask.
This is great. So there's very low risk if you're not vaccinated. So there's no problem. There's no problem. And in fact, she even threw this in.
What we've done is we've empowered the American people to make their own decisions about their own health.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for empowering me to make my own decisions. Now, I'm happy. I think this is good. I think there's reason for it. I think this phase is over. We need to move to the next phase of the Great Reset. But we can't get there yet. Not according to MSNBC. MSNBC is not buying what the CDC says. It's very troubling for them personally, including primetime star Rachel Maddow.
Talking to people today about this new guidance and what to ask her, everybody had very personal feelings about it, and I realized I did too, and all these questions. Part of it is that I feel like I'm going to have to rewire myself so that when I see somebody out in the world who's not wearing a mask, I don't instantly think you are a threat.
Now, this was interesting what she said here.
So that when I see somebody
hold on here.
Out in the world who's not wearing, part of it is that I feel like I'm going to have to rewire myself.
That is true. There is a lot of rewiring that has to go on. You know, the wiring that you screwed up, Rachel Maddow. I think you're seeing people with real post-traumatic stress disorder right now. People who are freaked out about these masks, like Rachel Maddow, who need to rewire their brain, have a form of PTSD.
So that when I see somebody out in the world who's not wearing a mask, I don't instantly think you are a threat or you are selfish or you are a COVID denier and you definitely haven't been vaccinated. I mean, we're going to have to rewire the way that we look at each other because the CDC's guidance.
She dropped the ball, though, because we read the tweets. We see what these people say. What she left out of her little series there, or that you're this or you're that, or you're a Republican. She left it out.
Well, but she did what she didn't say was, or maybe you can't wear a mask for health reasons. There are many reasons. Or maybe you're a child. You know, none of this stuff. It's okay, because Lawrence O'Donnell who comes on after Maddow, I think. He takes it all the way there, where MSNBC really wants us to be, and what they really want the conversation to be, because then it can be back to Republicans.
So the way it was said today is that you don't need to social distance. The way Dr. Fauci said it last night about outdoors, you don't need a mask and you don't need to social distance if you're vaccinated. So does that mean, in terms of indoors, a Broadway theater, Hamilton is scheduled to reopen in September at this point.
Hamilton.
Can they sell every seat now and have people sitting basically elbow to elbow?
That's only for people who can afford Hamilton, you fool.
In the theater?
They can if everybody there is vaccinated. That's going to be the challenge. They have two choices. They can make sure everybody's vaccinated, or they can test everyone before they come in. This is where the whole issue of vaccine passports come in. Government's not going to be running vaccine passport programs, but you can imagine private businesses like that Broadway show theater owner saying, I only want vaccinated people here. I want proof that you're vaccinated. That will make it much, much safer to sell every seat.
So, that's a great idea. Just to turn away the audience.
I want to see her do it.
No wonder Broadway can't make money.
Do it. We stay with MSNBC. They brought on my favorite expert, who I've known since my first encounter in March of 2020, Mr. Dr. Osterholm, to tell us exactly what we need.
The challenge is going to be, now we're worried that everyone's going to say, I've been vaccinated, and everyone will drop their mask in. So the next question is going to be how are we going to know if people are vaccinated? If you're sitting close to someone at a restaurant or next to them in a theater, how are you going to know that they're not just kind of fibbing a little bit here about whether they're vaccinated or not? And I think that's going to be the really next big question is, do we do these immune passports? Do we?
Well, hold on, stop this clip. Now, didn't the original woman you played go on and say that if you're vaccinated, you got nothing to worry about? Yes. So why is this guy worried that somebody sitting next to him is fibbing and he's not wearing his mask, but he's not vaccinated? According to the first woman, who's the expert, the scientist.
Director of the CDC.
The director of the CDC, it's not a big deal. So why is it a big deal to MSNBC?
Hello? Hello, we need controversy. We need to slag off Republicans, trumpeters, anything we can do, anything, because they might be fibbing a bit.
Fibbing a little bit here about whether they're vaccinated or not. And I think that's going to be the really next big question is, do we do these immune passports? Do we, I gave up my eyeballs and my fingerprints to clear so I could get on and off an airplane sooner. Will people do that so that you can feel confident that the person you're sitting next to without a mask is in fact vaccinated?
I love that.
Who cares?
False equivalency. Who cares if you gave up your eyes and your face for that?
He lost his eye? Well,
yeah, he gave it up for science. Yeah, for science, exactly. Now, we're not going to just beat up on MSNBC. Others were out there doing the same dumb stuff. George Stephanopoulos, ABC, Good Morning America.
So your decision caught a lot of us by surprise. Why now, and does this mean we are approaching the end of the pandemic?
Good morning, George. There were several pieces that really went into this important decision.
And by the way, this is once again Walensky, the CDC director.
Occurred yesterday. One is that our cases are down in this country. They're down about a third from where they were even just 2 weeks ago. Two is that now vaccine is really available to everyone. It is accessible within 5 miles of 90% of Americans in the United States. We have enough supply now that if you really want a vaccine, you can get it. And then the third is that the science has really informed us, evolving science even just over the last 2 weeks, that these vaccines are working the same in our cohorts, in our populations, and in the real world as they did in clinical trials. Over 90 to 95% effectiveness in the real world studies. That they are working against the variants that we have circulating here in the United States, a study that was just published last week, and that if you are to get COVID-19, even if you are vaccinated, that you have a much lower load of virus, is largely asymptomatic, and you're really much less likely to give it to someone else. So all of those things happening at the same time is really what motivated our decision.
Now, I'm so interested by this, what motivated our decision, because I'm not entirely buying it. She's talking a big game about cases that were going down already dramatically, certainly in states and counties where mask mandates have been lifted. Look at Texas and Florida. But she's talking about science, and you just got to wonder where that science came from. And I think Peter Hotez, your guy who you brought to the show, who works Peter Hotep, I think he gives us a little bit more information where this science came from.
But what do you say to people who suggest trusting the science goes both ways? If you tell people wear a mask because the virus is still out there, we wear a mask. Now the CDC says you don't have to anymore, but some governors say you still do.
Yeah, no, I understand the mixed messaging. Here's the reason why they did it. They've seen a pretty...
Not only that, but that he says, yeah, no, and then says, yeah, I understand about the mixed messaging, like you just did.
Oh, the CDC says you don't have to anymore, but some governors say you still do.
Yeah, no, I understand the mixed messaging. Here's the reason why they did it. They've seen the CDC did it because of a sharp decline in the number of cases, and now anyone who wants to get vaccinated can get vaccinated. We have an excess of vaccines. But the other piece of this, Scott, is there's a new piece of science. And this is coming out of Israel earlier this month that's showing that vaccinated individuals, if they do get asymptomatic infection, it's about 90% protective against asymptomatic infection. If they do get asymptomatic infection, they're not shedding very much virus from their nose and mouth. So even though they have asymptomatic infection, we think they're not actually transmitting the virus. And that's really important news. And it should give parents some comfort, too. If they've been vaccinated, even if they're going out and about because they're not wearing masks and they get infected, they're not shedding enough virus to transmit it to their kids. We don't have all those I's dotted and T's crossed yet, but that's likely the piece that's missing right now that needs to be communicated, and I think that'll give a lot of comfort to parents across the country.
So where's he getting his science from? From Israel. Who's running Israel's biosecurity state? Pfizer. So this is a Pfizer move.
Yeah, but why?
FDA approval coming up, baby. July, FDA approval coming up. This is what they want. They need to get to approval, so they need to have it much more integrated and much less polarized.
How about this? Mm-hmm. I think that I'm not buying that.
Okay.
How about this? They're backing the sucker off as fast as they can because there is no approval coming.
Also possible. Absolutely. But it's something with Pfizer and something with their marketing. There's no other way. This was so abrupt. There was no pre-messaging.
They're pulling back as fast as they can because approval's not coming. It won't make any difference when approval doesn't come because we're already fed that. It's over.
Now, let's listen. You just heard some science from some scientists. You heard all kinds of fear, but okay.
Yeah, science as in we think.
Let us listen to our president explain the same thing.
And for now, after a year of hard work and so much sacrifice, the rule is very simple. Get vaccinated or wear a mask until you do. It's vax-ed or masked.
Now, that was probably the best prompter flub I've ever heard in my life.
I didn't even understand a word he said. What did he say?
The line is, get vaxxed or mask. But he reads the prompter and reads,
it's vax-ed or mask.
He sees two X's and thinks, oh yeah, that's vax-ed. I know how to pronounce that.
Vax-ed? What is he, from South America?
No, yes. He sees two X's in vaxxed, and he's pronouncing vax-ed. Because that sounds perfectly okay, President Biden. Yeah, all right.
It's vax-ed or masked. Get vaccinated. If you're vaccinated...
Did you hear that? I love this one. This is for the kids.
Get vaccinated.
Do that. Just play that in your kid's ear a couple times.
Get vaccinated.
Uncle Joe says get vaccinated. Now he's going to wind it up.
You can be around the vaccinated or unvaccinated people. But if you're not vaccinated or not fully vaccinated, you should wear a mask for your own protection and the protection of other unvaccinated people.
Huh? Okay. You should wear a mask for the protection of unvaccinated... Oh, please. It's so clear. The lady spelled it out. I'm taking the CDC's guidance once again. What do I have? Oh, finally we had Fauci on. Fauci, once again, was the star of Saturday Night Live, the opening monologue of which we will play exactly nothing. But he is, he's such a star, Here's with Lester on NBC Nightly News.
Well, Dr. Fauci, a lot of Americans put a lot of trust and faith in you. So my first question is really of a personal nature. Do you feel good about this mask decision today? Would you have preferred that you wait a bit longer?
No, actually, Lester, I feel very good about it, and I'm very much in favor of it. But people who've been vaccinated now, they really do need to get the feel that we're approaching some form of normality. And one of the things that felt quite abnormal and different, the way they'd like to feel, is that outdoors you could understand the breeze of blowing and there's very little chance of anything happening. But indoors, it's still quite safe. If you're vaccinated, the data that's accumulated now about the real world effectiveness of a vaccine really makes the risk of getting infected extraordinarily low. And if you do get infected, the risk of getting any serious disease is even lower.
Wow. He's completely changed his tune.
I've been wanting to do this on the last show. I'm going to request it today because you have your little database there. I would like to hear Fauci's "no reason to wear a mask" clip.
Okay. I have it somewhere.
I think you can find it.
Yeah, I think I can find it. Here we go. I think this is the one. Here we go.
Right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is. And often, there are unintended consequences. People keep fiddling with the mask and they keep touching their face.
And can you get some schmutz sort of staying inside there?
Of course. But when you think masks, you should think of healthcare providers needing them and people who are ill.
There you go. Yeah.
That was right in the middle of the pandemic, by the way.
It was. But you know what? We got to see science work in real time, John. The science changed. We had new science, we think. And
nothing. We had nothing.
We had new science.
Nothing.
I was playing these clips for Tina this morning. She got mad. She's like, they have been lying to us. No kidding, obviously. She knows it too.
Wow.
Now, she knows it too.
Tina's right on it.
But of course she knows this.
Lying
but it just hit her again as to how politically motivated all of this
bastards.
was.
When she gets those bastards, she got to say
But we're not done yet. We're not done. Oh, we still have some children.
Today, Dr. Fauci said children between 2 and 11 could be eligible for the vaccine by the end of the year. Until then, some parents may want to keep masking up.
You're trying to model behavior for our youngest kids. And so for them to make something a habit, they have to watch us doing it.
While there is progress for some, for others, there may still be months of masks ahead.
Oh, that's what you want. You want children. Yes, you want the children. I want to see little children masked up.
When a child is outside and is not vaccinated and interacting with other people, either in an outdoor or in an indoor setting, you want to make sure the child is masked.
Oh, okay. You know what? This guy is from the Mengele Institute. He just
I'll tell you something.
Shit.
He's like interpreting the stock market. He says everything. Mask, no mask, do this, do that. It's unbelievable. You can find a clip by Fauci that says anything.
It's so true.
I want to go back to the marketing side of this.
Oh, please. This is most important. This is
continued.
This is who we are.
They still got to get rid of some of the vaccines as much as they can before this whole thing caves in on them, which is any minute.
Yeah.
At least the way I see it. And by the way, what I think is also going to happen if they're going to pull the plug on this deal, there's all of a sudden flu is going to come to the fore.
Hello. Of course.
Because they got no flu so far. Nobody's gotten the flu ever.
Flu is coming.
So, but let's listen to what they want to do in New York City. This is the best thing I've ever heard, especially if you got to watch it. This is de Blasio.
We need everyone to get vaccinated. So we know we have to make it convenient. We know we have to make it easy. We know we need the opportunities for people to speak to their trusted community voices, doctors, etc. We're doing all that. Incentives help. They really do. And so we've been announcing free tickets, gift cards, all sorts of incentives to encourage people. A lot of people are ready to get vaccinated. They just haven't gotten around to it. They need a little extra incentive. We're doing that now. And we are going to have a live correspondent this morning talk about this, and from a site that means a lot to all of us as New Yorkers, because one thing I think that does unite New Yorkers is a love of Shake Shack. So, live from the original Shake Shack location in Madison Square Park, the CEO of Shake Shack, and he is generously joining into this incentive effort, and I welcome him. My pleasure to introduce CEO Randy Garutti. Welcome, Randy.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, New Yorkers. I'm Randy Garutti, the CEO of Shake Shack, and we are here live in Madison Square Park at the original Shack. We've got one more we want to add for you, New York. You know, these incredible mobile vaccine buses that are serving some of our most underserved communities here in New York. When you get your vaccine, over this next few days, we're going to get you with a free Shack Burger card every time you get your vaccine. Even better than that, our 25 Shacks around New York City. Anytime you go for the next month, you're there grabbing your burger, your chicken sandwich, show us your vaccine card. We'll get you free fries on us.
Yeah, this is the fry eating seen around the world, no longer to be unseen.
Now we go to the second part of the clip. Now I did take, that was about, that little blip in there was about 5 minutes of this guy self-promoting. This is shameless, by the way. This is a pathetic, shameless promotion for one company. It's by the government of New York City. It's pathetic. But let's listen to part 2. This is where de Blasio decides to chow down.
Free fries when you get vaccinated? I got vaccinated. You're saying I could get this? These delicious fries? Wait a minute. But there's also a burger element to this? Let me check with Bill Neathart. Is it too early in the day to eat a burger? No. This could be breakfast? Okay. I want you to look at this and think about, again, some people love hamburgers, some don't. Really want to respect all ways of life. But if this is appealing to you, just think of this when you think of vaccination.
I loved his shaking hands. It was quite, very obvious shaking hands as he's trying to move the prop chips in and out. I have a short clip that explains something about this from Ohio, where they also have an incentive. You don't mind me just interrupting, because the end is the kicker.
No, I'm over with de Blasio, so you're not interrupting anything.
The end is the kicker.
This morning, vaccinated people in Ohio are getting a shot at a massive payout. The state is giving 5 adults $1 million each in return for getting at least 1 dose of the vaccine.
To be eligible to win, you must be at least 18 years of age or older on the day of the drawing. You must be an Ohio resident, and you must be vaccinated before the drawing.
Federal coronavirus relief funds will be used for the prizes.
Hello? Fuck that noise. No. You're not going to use our tax dollars for your $1 million lottery. No. Where's the outrage on that?
Pretty outrageous.
So they're using federal tax dollars, which is the big CARES Act, the one that we all are paying for, and our grandchildren. Yeah,
the one that was way over budget.
Yeah, and
too much money.
Now just blowing it on giving people away $1 million. Blow me. No.
There'd be a lawsuit over that.
I mean, that's just like Austin saying, well, because of COVID, we have more homeless, so we're going to spend $400 million of the CARES Act on hotels. This is a humongous scam. And de Blasio, how much did New York get? You know that New York is paying for. Shake Shack's not chipping in for this.
No, they're not
chipping in.
Ugh. You can't make money giving away your product.
Well, there's that.
It's not possible.
There's that too. There's that. I like this question that came up in Congress. There was a lot said about Rand Paul, who is a doctor. Rand Paul, and who is an ophthalmologist, which is important. He was asking questions about gain of function research, and that went back and forth. But there were other senators who asked some interesting questions, and the answer to all of the top healthcare professionals was quite telling.
What percentage of the employees in your institute, your center, or your agency of your employees has been vaccinated?
I'm not 100% sure, Senator, but I think it's probably a little bit more than half, probably around 60%.
Dr. Marks?
I can't tell you the exact number, but it's probably in the same range. Some people vaccinated at our facility and others at outside of the facility.
Dr. Lewinsky?
We're encouraging our employees to get vaccinated. We've been doing town halls and education seminars. Our staff have the option to report their vaccination status, but as you understand, the federal government is not requiring it, so we do not know.
Oh, okay. So y'all don't trust your own, you're not smoking your own dope there. Very good. I think
that's a good thing.
What, that they're not getting it?
No, that they're not smoking their own dope.
Yeah, it's very good because people would die within government, and that's just
we don't need that.
It's a statistic.
So I did a telemedicine thing last week.
Yes.
I had a doctor's appointment to get some prescriptions renewed.
I've done one telemedicine when I had my COVID eye, and I enjoyed the process.
I found it to be quite nice because a couple of things. One is that the wait was only like 5 minutes instead of a half an hour sitting in the office, which it always is for a doctor's appointment in California. It wasn't that long. It was 5 minutes. And it was efficient, and I could sort papers.
You could do show prep.
I could do show prep. And the doctor never mentioned once whether I should get a COVID vaccine, so I assumed that she was of the one of the healthcare hesitants.
Okay, and there was no pressure.
Never mentioned, because before it's always said you need a tetanus update, you need this, you need that, and I say no most of the time, but no mention, none, zero. And I say, well, at least that's something. But yes, I liked it. I think it was better. I think it was a better than going in. So I recommend it.
Looking at there's two databases we look at, and of course these databases, which we've been looking at since 2010, now suddenly are, of course, just fodder for conspiracy theorists. It's an open database. It doesn't really count. It's not real, please. And this is the Vaccine Adverse Reaction, the VAERS database. And they're reporting, as we know, a lot of things. But in the United Kingdom, they have the Yellow Card database, and the World Health Organization combined has now, and this is why Rand Paul, he'll be talking about this, there are over 20,000 reports of eye disorders, including 303 cases of blindness and over 1,600 cases of visual impairment after.
Wow.
Yes. And if you look at the Udra Vigilance, which is a European database, of course, only maintained by conspiracy theorists, they've reported 8,430 deaths, 354,177 injuries following a multitude of vaccinations. And, so it's looking bad. And this eye disorder, you're going to see this because you can't hide that with the mask. You have pussy eyes walking around.
Well, I have not seen that. I mean,
I had it.
COVID eye was
COVID eye. Well, I have super immunity, so it doesn't count. Something that will go absolutely nowhere, but is nice to see. Over 1,000 lawyers and 10,000 doctors have filed a lawsuit. I'm sorry. Before you go on with this, I'd like to see the filing because this has all the earmarks of a hoax. Possible. Now, I think this is like an international, as I said, it'll go nowhere because where do you file this? If it even gets filed, the reason I was thinking about this because I liked it too. I think great story. Well, let me finish the headline. Let me finish the headline first. They are suing the CDC, the World Health Organization, and the Davos Group for crimes against humanity. And for me, putting the Davos Group in there was kind of the tip-off, like, okay, how serious are you with this? Two things. One, the Davos Group being in there is sketchy. And the second one is, how do you get 10,000 doctors to sign anything? Whose mailing list is this? The same way that the New York Times published 700 773 immunologists say, no, it's too early. We can't take our mask off.
Yeah, but that's one mailing list. It's small. It's not 10,000. 10,000 is a big list.
We have a 10,000 mailing list.
Not 10,000 doctors.
No, obviously not. Oh, my goodness.
And then you'd have to get them to sign on stuff. I mean, only 40% of them ever opened a newsletter. So,
well, I'm looking forward to seeing if something gets. I'm looking forward to seeing if something gets filed.
Well, I hope it does, because I think all the points they make are great points. I don't know what Davos has got to do with it, which makes you wonder what it just sounds off the hoax alarm to me. So, yes, I'm very skeptical of this thing, but I do like it. I like it. I think it's great, and I read through the whole thing. It's very entertaining.
Yeah.
And, of course, it's something we talked about already on the show, and almost point by point before they filed.
Yeah.
Or before they showed up with this press announcement.
Now, there was something else that to me was very surprising. Associated Press came out with a story that Pfizer and Moderna did not, contrary to all belief, skip animal trials. And I'm like, wait a minute. This doesn't sound right. Have we been wrong? So they even do it it's like a fact check. Claim. The Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are mRNA vaccines that skipped animal trials because using mRNA vaccines on animals triggers dangerous inflammation. AP's assessment. False. Pfizer and Moderna did not skip animal trials when testing their COVID vaccines. So what to believe? So as you look,
how is this wrong with what we've said? We've said they've never tested it on animals.
They say that it's not true. The facts, according to the AP article, as the race to authorize the use of COVID vaccines continues, posts online are spreading misinformation. Okay, so now we go. Now I'm looking at the articles. Like, okay, well, tell me about the trials. Well, here it is. Due to the urgent need for a vaccine in surging pandemic, Pfizer and Moderna were given approval to simultaneously test their vaccines on animals while they were conducting phase 1 trials on humans. They overlapped preclinical studies with the early phases of the trials, said Dr. William Moss, executive director for the International Vaccine Access Center at Johns Hopkins University. In fact, one of the reasons we're even talking about vaccines now is that some of the phases in which the vaccine development normally occurs were overlapped rather than done sequentially. But then it comes. The vaccines were, in fact, in phase 1 tested on mice and macaques. MACAQUES, which I had to look up.
It's a monkey.
Monkeys. No ferret trials. Sorry. No ferret trial, no good. So that's their facts, their proof that it was tested on animals. And in phase 1, not phase 2, not phase 3, not after any adjustments. No, it just overlapped, and we did it on mice and monkeys. Again, why did they kill all the mink?
Yeah, the mink thing is still the big mystery.
So, I'm thinking, no.
Seems pretty suspicious. It's like they dry labbed it.
But I'm
skeptical.
But you have to do it on animals that make sense. And as far as I understand, the ferret are the ones. Anyway, Canada is in trouble. We need to liberate Canada. There's some badass shit going on up north.
Something's wrong with that guy. They got to get rid of Trudeau. He's obviously Fidel Castro.
Well, I don't think... No, Trudeau is just a puppet. I mean, they're in this full-on biosecurity state, and this is a public service announcement running on the radio.
To curb the spread of COVID-19, gatherings with family and friends in private homes and yards are prohibited. Travel between regions should be avoided, and traveling to yellow zones is forbidden. It's forbidden to leave your home between 9:30 p.m. and 5 a.m. Visit quebec.ca/coronavirus to learn more about the other measures in place. Follow all the rules, all the time, no exceptions. A message from the Gouvernement du Québec.
I love that. Follow all the rules, all the time, no exceptions. Isn't that...
That's and a show clip.
Well, of course it is. But isn't that... Here, of course it is.
Follow all the rules, all the time, no exceptions.
That's straight out of Hollywood. That's the voice, everything. The AM radio quality.
Very slick.
It's so perfect. And I think it's calling up on predictive programming. You know?
All the rules all the time.
Yeah, the people have...
Are we sure that's a legit clip?
Yes, it is. It came from Rebel. And they showed it playing on the radio.
Okay.
Yeah, of course it's a real... You know, a lot of
Sounds
things...
like Jennifer Buchanan's voice. That's the reason.
A lot of things... Oh, it does not sound like Jennifer Buchanan's voice at all. No. In Canada, doctors are now forbidden to be spreading health misinformation. This is according to the CPSO, which is the Canadian College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario. There have been isolated incidents of physicians using social media to spread blatant misinformation and undermine public health measures meant to protect all of us. In response, the college released the statement below. The college is aware and concerned about the increase of misinformation circulating on social media and other platforms regarding physicians who are publicly contradicting public health orders and recommendations. Physicians hold a unique position of trust with the public and have a professional responsibility to not communicate anti-vaccine, anti-masking, anti-distancing, and anti-lockdown statements and or promoting unsupported, unproven treatments for COVID-19. Physicians must not make comments or provide advice that encourages the public to act contrary to public health orders and recommendations. Physicians who put the public at risk may face an investigation by the CPSO and the Mengele Institute and disciplinary action when warranted. When offering opinions, physicians must be guided by the law, regulatory standards, and the Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. What happened to science? What happened to science?
The law.
No,
it's the law. They must be guided by the law.
Yes, and that is it. By the law, slave.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I'm on a kind of a never-ending quest to figure out what is wrong with our medical profession. What is wrong with the doctors? You had a good experience with, what was that, a certified nurse? What was it?
Nurse practitioner.
Who I think are responsible for saving more people's lives than doctors.
Probably.
Nurse practitioners, I've been very high regard. Dr. Drew, on his podcast, had Dr. Zubin Damien on, and they were talking about this very thing. And it's refreshing to hear some doctors in an open and honest dialogue about how nutty their profession has become. And this is truly worrying.
What happened to our peers? What happened to them? To me, it is the most bizarre thing in the world as someone who's trained to improvise and determine what my best approach is, apply my judgment for the given clinical situation at hand. Oftentimes waiting for the science to catch up. The science often doesn't catch up with the clinical experience for years. There was things I used for years that there was not double-blind placebo-controlled trials to substantiate. And many times there were things I did for years, like hormone replacement therapy, that when the trials came out, turned out to be totally wrong, and we damaged millions of women because of the Women's Health Initiative. So if we're not going to allow physicians to improvise and apply their judgment, have nurse practitioners and physicians' assistants do everything. That's fine. You don't need physicians if they're not going to apply their judgment. It seemed like they were afraid that if some orthodoxy wasn't handed down from on high, they wouldn't do it. Was that your experience?
Okay, so I like Dr. Drew's opening line, and I'm pretty convinced that it has to do with getting kicked out of the profession at the behest of Pfizer or any of the other big pharmaceuticals, but it seems to also be purely an educational issue. Doctors are just no longer educated in anything else but diagnose, prescribe the drug.
So, you know, what I suspect here is we're seeing the indoctrination, the sort of conditioning of physicians to be fear-based. So, again, the do no harm oath means sometimes it means do nothing or stand back. But
that's harmful.
I think
that can be harmful.
It absolutely can. I think in the case of this disease, it's interesting because it's a viral syndrome. So people said, okay, well, it's kind of like flu. We don't really have a lot of therapeutics that work that well. Go home, rest, the brat diet, all the usual stuff. And the truth is, well, this is brand new. Now, the problem is then you have people who are coming out with kind of out of left field ideas that kind of have some theoretical sense, but maybe they do cause harm, but we don't know. And then that scares doctors more. And then everybody's afraid of being judged on social media or media as being some kind of quack, so they step back. Now, my feeling is just even doing anything has a placebo benefit when someone's suffering from a viral syndrome, and just that therapeutic relationship of connection is important, but we were stepping away from that, and I think there's a fear component.
It's all
good point.
It's all fear.
Well, the good point is go home and die. Yes. Instead of giving the guy ivermectin
Yes.
And hydroxychloroquine was a good for the beginning of the thing. You can't, they keep bringing it up. I had some clips from MSNBC a couple of weeks ago. They didn't get played, but it's a woman, the host going, well, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, if you give it to somebody that's dying of COVID, it kills them.
Yeah.
It's not what the idea was. It wasn't to give someone who's dying. It was to give someone who just caught it or is going to catch it.
Exactly. Well, they did continue one more clip. But what you're hearing is fear on all sides. So the doctors are afraid of doing the wrong thing, being excoriated, not following the rules. I'm sure what we just read from the Canadian ruling body is no different than what we have here in the United States. But at the same time, we have one of Tina's longtime friends is here. And her husband got COVID. They're in their 60s, and he really didn't feel very good. And he went to the doctor, was diagnosed. She was diagnosed negative, and she took care of him, everything. She's never had COVID, but they had just had a flu maybe a month or so before, and they were also very sick. And after this whole ordeal was over, her husband thought he was going to die. And they both agreed that it was the fear that it was COVID, and this is, last year, that really accentuated the symptoms, that really enhanced what he was already feeling. He thought he was going to die, and he was not going to die, and they didn't give him anything, and he got over it, but the fear made it so much worse. So it's really all of this, and you can just look straight at the mainstream and the institutions, the commercial CDC, who have brought this fear upon everybody, and confusion, which doesn't help. And that's kind of the last bit here from these two.
It doesn't surprise me at all for a couple of reasons, and I think, and it should astonish us, but it doesn't surprise us because we say, well, wait, we're a very inertia-driven, fear-based profession that is the result of a hierarchical training that...
Are you hearing this? We are a very hierarchical-driven, fear-based... What the hell has gotten into our medical system, man?
Fear-based training.
Listen to this.
We're a very inertia-driven, fear-based profession that is the result of a hierarchical training that indoctrinates us in this kind of way of being in the world. We're very afraid of causing trouble and drawing the eye of Sauron onto us. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why we're really good at pointing the finger, too, because it's a kind of projection. Well, if the nephrologist hadn't screwed up putting in that fistula, well, then, I wouldn't have had this infectious complication that now I'm having trouble managing in the ICU. Yeah. And so it really is part of our culture. The other thing is I don't think medicine moves so fast. So in this case, here we have this new dynamic challenge, and we're not designed to quickly update. So you have these groups online forming where critical care docs are sharing ideas. Now, in those circles, actually, I saw a lot of innovation, a lot of quick progress. And so I have to tip my hat to those.
That was good. I agree.
Yeah, so they're so great that some doctors actually did something. It's incredible. I didn't know this was going on. It's inertia, fear-based. What the hell? This doesn't... I don't...
You don't go to the doctor anyway.
No, well, of course I don't. And I just caught on to this shit much earlier, but holy crap. That's really... Now, at this point, have you seen enough magnets sticking to arms to be a believer that this is a thing?
I haven't seen it at all.
Oh, so you were on a couple of emails people were sending.
I never looked at these. This is bogus. I've seen magicians.
It's not bogus.
I know how
you're making yourself look foolish. It's not bogus.
Oh, I'm okay. Yeah, the non-ferrous coins are sticking to people.
No. I said it wrong. People's arms, magnets stick to their arms. So a kitchen magnet will stick to most people's vaccinated arm. So there's some
kitchen magnets, so one of those magnets
refrigerator
on the
magnet.
refrigerator.
Yeah, refrigerator magnet. Yeah.
Well, if somebody explains the science to me, I'll be more than interested.
All right, but you should take a look at a few of those emails, and we have a few producers who even, they might be lying, but why would
There's
they?
Anybody in our audience?
Yes, we had in our audience, we had in the general producer population, we had people sending emails to both of us.
General producer population.
Yes. That this is a thing. And I wonder why.
Well, I'd like to know why myself.
Well, I do have a theory.
Well, before you go to that, I was going to get some of these updates out of the way.
So you're going to interrupt this theory for some updates?
I want to hear. Okay, I want to hear the theory.
Magnetogenetics.
This is the second half of show stuff.
It's COVID, baby. Magnetogenetics. It's quite well known to work in mice, and you can control mice's thoughts.
Oh man!
Yeah.
Talk about going off the rails.
You don't even believe that
you
don't even believe there's a pill machine that sorts it for people. You are such a denier. You know, it's like I tell you these things.
That pill machine's a joke,
but it's real. You said it was Babylon Bee when I played the commercial. Come on. Or do you think this is real? You got this note?
Magnetogenetics?
I'm just saying that's a possibility. I'm not saying that's real.
Well, why don't you read us the definition of this magnetogenetics?
Okay, well.
While we're on it.
It's not necessarily a definition.
Well, it's a word. It has to be defined.
Yes, well, here it is. A little... you caught me. The University of Virginia developed a technique that uses magnets to control the brains of living mice. Researchers created a hybrid gene, they called it magneto, that produces proteins in brain cells that are responsive to magnets. Whenever magneto-engineered rodents wander into a magnetic field, the invisible force activated the pleasure centers in their brains. Remember how happy people were when they got the vaccine? Researchers believe magnetic mind control represents a non-invasive way to manipulate neural pathways and study brain function. It's the first step toward developing magnetogenetic therapies to someday treat brain disorders. That is from March 11th, 2016. From Discover magazine. So a little bit.
I will, let's let Discover. I used to be on their judging panel for their awards.
That just discredited the magazine.
So so let's go. Let's just keep with this train of thought.
Yeah.
Is the magnetogenetic, how is it introduced into the body? Through a shot, let's say.
Yes, that's exactly how
if I just took a vial of the juice that you use, and I took a refrigerator magnet, it would stick to the vial?
I don't know if that hasn't, I don't know. That's two different things. I have no idea at all. You can ask me all you want. I'm just saying it's out there.
Yeah, but by the way, you nailed it. It's out there.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah, it's out there.
Well, you know what? No, never mind. I won't even go there. I won't even.
No, I want to hear. Come on, don't start editing yourself.
Well, it's hard not to when all I get is I'm nuts.
Your feet. Okay, I'm in advance. I'm gonna let you. I'm not gonna say a thing. Go.
5G. That's it. I'm done.
5G.
Final note, my daughter just shared this. You got this too, John. Her close friend, 21-year-old male, got the second shot and had the Pfizer shot after the second shot 4 days ago. He had a very bad reaction, fever, vomiting. Finally, his throat started to constrict and had a hard time breathing. After being treated at the hospital in Michigan, the hospital gave him a $10,000 check and a signed contract to not mention discussed on social media. and both of you have asked for a copy of said contract. I wonder if that's true. And why would our producer lie about it, first of all? But holy crap, $10K to just not talk about it?
Well, that's cheaper than a $1 million lottery.
Yeah, but, I mean, it should at least be reported on.
Well, we're looking for a copy of the contract.
What do you think?
That would be nice.
How do you think Bill Maher is going to play out with his fully vaccinated status that he now had to cancel his first show ever because he tested positive? How do you think that's going to play?
Now I don't know. I'd like to know myself. You're right. He's never missed a show. So he did get vaccinated and then got it?
Yes, fully vaccinated. He got it. He says he's asymptomatic. So it can go one of two ways. Either he's going to say, see, everyone needs to keep their mask on because I got infected from someone. Or he can say...
He won't do that.
I hope not. Or he can be a big driver and say, this is just a test or something positive. I'm fine. Everything's okay. You're not going to die from me. It's a variant. The science is in. The science has changed. Take off your mask. It's okay. If you're vaccinated, don't worry about me. Or does this give people more fear that the vaccinated can still have it and be spreading their evil spike proteins on you?
I don't know. Well, we'll find out soon enough. Let's do some world updates and look at India, what's going on. Democracy Now! Keeps up with this, and they're still pushing the fear. So maybe everyone else is backing off. These guys never get the memo. I don't think they're on the mailing list, personally.
No, they're not.
But India reported more than 360,000 new coronavirus cases Thursday and over 4,100 deaths, though both numbers are likely significant undercounts. Daily cases in India's capital territory of Delhi have begun to decrease, in a sign that India's massive second wave of COVID-19 may be cresting. Coronavirus cases continue to spread in Asia and the Pacific. This week, Malaysia ordered a nationwide lockdown as COVID-19 deaths hit a pandemic level high.
No, they haven't been given. I think they get the third generation script. It has to be handed down before it gets to the basement, wherever the hell she was broadcasting
with a bunch
from.
Of little initials all over the top part.
Yes, yeah, it's okay. Yes, it's gone. It's gone through the list. You're all good. Yeah.
Let's go to the USA update. She's got some stuff.
The United States reported over 800 deaths from COVID-19 Wednesday as new infections continue to drop while vaccinations rise. Massachusetts reported 0 coronavirus deaths for the first time since last June, while in Michigan, a spring surge is rapidly subsiding.
She did get the memo.
Yeah, but it depends on what. Again, this sudden change means something. Pfizer needed something changed. I like our theory, that they're never getting an approval, whatever it is. There's some reason, and I think the approval date or the ending of I think it's the emergency use authorization, which ends. Maybe it could be re-upped. That's one way it could go.
Oh yeah, you can re-up it.
You can re-up that. But
I think just phasing it out. Let's go. We're good. We made our money. Let's get out of here before the jig's up. We're gonna get caught.
It's once we hit August when the new doctors come in. We know hospital deaths go up. That's just a fact of life. Then we're into the flu season.
That was April.
No. It's August, end of August, September. It's when everyone is out after the summer.
Well, there's a moment where that happens.
Yeah, so that's coming. We had a pretty, if you recall,
But you can call flu. The flu's good. Blame the flu.
No. Well, see, last year around this time, it also started to subside. And then we saw it happen. Then deaths are up in hospitals, even in Texas, and we got tons of emails of people saying, no, this is very typical. It always happens around this time. And then in the autumn, we'll get flu season, and then flu will be back. And then you'll get the Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson combo ball that also has the flu shot in it. And they're just going to give this one massive shot just to finish you off.
Now that you mention that, that's the same scheme they pulled with the swine flu, which they were lined up for the swine flu vaccine, as you recall.
Mm-hmm.
I had photos. I took pictures of my local areas.
And you remember why
the lines going around the block.
And you remember why they stopped it, right? Remember why they stopped the swine flu vaccine?
Why?
Because more than 50 people died.
Well, there's thousands of people dying from this thing.
Exactly.
Now, but what they did is they incorporate, first of all, just as a remembrance, swine flu would require 2 shots. Same thing, same bullshit. And then they said no one was buying into the 2 shot thing, so we can do it with 1 shot. So they started 1 shots. And then, we can't combine it with the other flu shots until next year. It was combined. It was in the next year's flu shot.
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah, it was for that one season.
Well, or they said it was. Who knows?
Well,
if it was.
Who knows what's in there?
Who knows if it was? Shit.
Could be just a bunch of cat pee for all you know.
Yeah, really.
And that was, remember, there's the other one where somebody caught a batch of the vaccine which had live virus and it was going to infect a whole bunch of people. Remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
I do. It was it was sloppy manufacturing. So, it was just an accident.
And also, people can go back to the documentary from 76. We've played it at least 3 times. We've played clips from the documentary about the huge scam that that original swine flu was. Oh
yeah, which nobody ever had. Seems
no, it was a total scam.
Everyone got sick from the flu.
Yeah,
from the shots.
Yeah, back when journalists did some journalism.
Yeah, those days are over.
Those days are over.
So we did the USA. Let's see. Now I got one other kind of an offbeat clip. This is kind of interesting. This is the where is it? Cuba. The Cuba clip. Look for the word Cuba in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cuba there. I crossed it out for some stupid reason. Talk about late to the party, but at the same time, why does everybody have to get into the act? Just play this clip and tell me what you think.
Cuba began a mass vaccination campaign Wednesday using 2 of its domestically created COVID-19 vaccine candidates. Late-phase clinical trials of the Soberano Dos and Abdala vaccines aren't due to wrap up until at least June, but Cuban officials say the benefits of administering the vaccines now outweigh the risks.
Oh, it's got to be some Chinese rebrand.
Yeah, maybe.
The Cubans.
But it just seems to me that India's got.
I think we should just
China's got 2 or 3.
Man,
Russia.
I'm waiting for the
Sputnik.
I'm waiting for the Cuban vaccine, man.
The Cuban one might be the Russian one.
Solidarity. Yeah, it could be. Solidarity with my comrades. I want the Cuban vaccine. That's the one I want.
Michael Moore should get that vaccine for sure.
Now, why I can't get away from the Great Reset. I can't. There's so many things
as you go on with the Great Reset, I'm telling you right now, there's another one of these 140 car trains loaded to the
Chinese
with
junk.
Chinese junk.
Come on, any chips by any chance, or is it just junk? Anything that's usable? Can we get cars running, or is that just junk?
All I see is just all you can see is the 2 containers on each one of these cars. It's unbelievable.
So
anyway,
I think this phase is done. That's why the whistle was blown. So in a way, as in the whistle, like, okay, let's end it. Everyone's good. You're all safe.
Yeah. Game's over.
I think the media companies are yes, game's over. The media companies are probably still just floundering around to get some, Trump-related news in there, conservatives, Republicans. They're not saying it outright everywhere, but they mean it. Rewire my brain, and to not think people's a denier, and we get it. So they're just going to keep moving that forward a bit. But the Davos Club, I do want to remind us of what Klaus, the last clip we played of Klaus, which was only a few months ago, he was very clear that the next stage in this would be exactly where we are.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
I think it's coming. It's time.
What is he talking about? What do you mean what you think it's coming? A cyber pandemic?
Yes, he said very clear in the beginning that a cyber attack, which would be against energy and other important infrastructure, which is what's on deck now. That's the bill that the president is touting. We have ransomware attacks on our energy systems. This is the next phase. And I've had a lot of... I was not entirely honest about my Red Book prediction. I'll just come clean on it. I know that a Texas energy company has had a ransomware attack for at least 4 days. And they just have not admitted it yet, which is completely against the new executive order. But this is underway. And both that one and the previous one at Colonial is not Russia. It's Eminent Panda, Apartment 127, it's all Chinese. At least that's the watermarks that are left. Whether it's someone spoofing as the Chinese is another, because I would think our own intelligence services are doing this to forward whatever evil, stupid agenda they have.
Software to do it. That's
they
one of their specialties. And spoof the other guys.
And so the beautiful way of doing this, as I tried to explain last time, is by ransomware, because you get a twofer. You get to spew some ugly juice onto Bitcoin, which is irritating to the elites, and you get to move forward the infrastructure plan, and probably more.
From Wall Street to Main Street, digital cryptocurrencies have exploded in value and popularity, with many Americans eager to get in on the action. But federal investigators say a Wild West culture has led to a massive spike in cryptocurrency scams. Since October, nearly 7,000 people have reported losses of more than $80 million. The median loss, $1,900. Danielle and Chris Gert put $500 into what they thought was a Bitcoin investment on Facebook. It was a scam.
In the beginning, everything was kind of lining up legitimate. That was initially when we started to get really skeptical, was when they requested more money in order to even get a withdrawal.
In the end, they lost $1,400. The Federal Trade Commission says victims are often lured to bogus websites promising big returns for crypto investors.
People read about Bitcoin. They have a general sense of what it is and the fact that it's gone up in value, and they want a piece of the action. And scammers know that, and they prey on it.
Victims sent more than $2 million in cryptocurrency to scammers posing as Elon Musk. Others duped by what they thought was an online love connection. The most likely victims, 20 to 49-year-olds. To avoid being scammed, experts advise using legitimate banks and investment advisors to buy and sell cyber currencies, and be very skeptical if anybody demands cyber payment.
So just make it all look bad, make it all look stupid. This is CNBC or NBC Nightly News. What are they doing reporting on two schmucks who got scammed? We know what your real agenda is. And Biden spelled it out in his executive order.
President Biden signed an executive order today to boost the country's cyber defenses. It follows several major cybersecurity incidents, including the ransomware attack on a pipeline company that has prompted gas shortages in the Southeast.
And pay close attention to the way this NPR personality speaks.
The broad order seeks to strengthen cybersecurity for federal networks and outline new security standards for commercial software used by businesses and the public. The White House says it's about shifting the mindset from always responding to incidents to preventing them before they happen. Here with more is NPR White House correspondent Franco Ordonez. Hey, Franco.
Hey, Elsa.
So what more can you tell us about this executive order?
Well, the order basically lays out a series of new requirements for companies that do business with the government. It requires companies to report breaches and share cyber threat information. It also updates security standards on government networks, including mandating multi-factor authentication. It also establishes a cybersecurity safety review board to review these incidents. Oh, yes. It's modeled on the National Transportation Safety Board that reviews airplane incidents. I mean, the Biden administration says that the Colonial Pipeline attack, as well as the recent SolarWinds and Microsoft Exchange acts, just make clear how vulnerable our public and private networks are, and that the status quo is no longer acceptable.
Yeah.
It would be so odd, John, if you and I spoke like this all the time and said things that we really had to emphasize for some reason.
Yeah.
You nailed it. You nailed her part perfectly. But here you go. Even though we know this is really at least Chinese watermarks and fingerprints on what's going on. No, not on NPR.
I know that President Biden does plan to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin. He didn't directly accuse the Russian government of being behind the Colonial Pipeline.
What is it? Accuse! J'accuse!
He didn't directly accuse the Russian government of being behind the Colonial Pipeline attack, but he did suggest that they had some responsibility, right?
Responsibility, right?
Yeah, Biden has said...
Come on, John, we can get a job there. But they did suggest that they had some responsibility, right?
Yeah, Biden has said, many times that these hacking attacks on the United States are just not acceptable, but that the Russians have not stopped it, or they're implicitly allowing it to happen. Now, the leaders are expected to speak next month, and as part of their conversation, they're expected to talk about arms control, and this could be part of that. Matthew Rajansky, the director of the Kennan Institute, who is close to the administration, told me it makes sense for the two sides to use this opportunity to start outlining some rules of engagement.
Oh, my goodness.
This is useless. These people don't even know.
Go ahead.
Nonsense to listen to NPR nowadays.
Well, yes, it is. It is.
I get a lot of clips from them, but
I think they're in existence only for us, aren't they? Isn't that the whole reason?
I don't know anyone in their right mind would listen to them.
John and I had an idea.
John and I?
Yes, I'm talking to the trolls now. We had an idea to really do a morning zoo type episode of a show.
Yeah,
and we were talking about this after the last show, actually, and we've already put together the cast, but we're missing one important member. So to review for a morning zoo show, now are you going to be my sidekick or am I your sidekick? It doesn't matter much.
Well,
to me.
I'm thinking about producing the thing and making Darren O'Neill your sidekick.
Ooh, yeah. That's all he has to say, by the way. Ooh, yeah. And everybody is wagging. It's in the morning zoo. And then he can do, yes. Okay. I think so you're the producer. You're Coach John. You got to have a name. You got to have a zoo name. You can't. Yeah, you can't just be John C. Dvorak. So you're Coach John.
No, I had to ask them serve MK Ultra John or something. DJMK. I don't know. We'll come up with it. That's the least of our problems. Our real problem is what we're going to discuss right now.
Yes. Okay. So here's the crew, because you need a crew for the morning zoo. So we got me, we got Darren, we got Coach JCD, known as the Widowmaker. Then we figured we need to have now we need a woman who is there and does stuff like, oh, Adam, and she also reads the news, and that is obviously Dame Jennifer.
And she says snide things besides just, oh, Adam.
Give me an example of something snide.
Well, in other words, if there be some moment where there's something that could be a double entendre, she's the one who introduces the she says line.
Right.
That's what she said would come from her.
Yes. This is going to be legendary. Now, then we needed, we wanted you can't be coach. We need a coach for sports. And in sports, when it comes to morning zoo format, you want a guy who is familiar with sports, but can also be the community affairs director. And we'll call him coach, and has to be a black guy. And since we only know one black guy, it's got to be Mo.
Yeah, Mo Fax would be perfect. And he's a sports nut.
He's a sports guy, so he can do it. And then the final thing is where we're stuck. We're stuck. And that is the entertainment reporter that has to be a gay guy and has to sound like a gay guy.
we talked about this, and we decided because of today's market, you can't have a guy who sounds gay. We have to have a genuine gay person.
You got to have a gay guy. Yes. Yeah.
But he has to also sound gay, which is a stereotype mostly found on the West Coast. It's a West Coast gay. Because everyone in the rest of the country, they bitch. I've listened to enough talk shows and podcasts where the gays get together and complain about this accent.
Yeah, of course.
That the West Coast guys have. And it's the Hollywood gay bullcrap, phony baloney, gay-ish sound.
But so we have requirements. You have to sound gay, but you also have to be gay.
Yeah, you have to be gay.
Otherwise, and we were taking auditions. So
I was supposed to have a script ready. I won't have it ready probably until the Thursday show, because we want everyone to read from the same script.
I'm going to hound you. I'm going to hound you over this. We need to get that. script
up and running. I will definitely get it written.
We need to get that script up and running. Yeah.
We'll have so they have to do this, and they have to do it in their best manner. We're up for criticism for even bringing this kind of thing up.
Well, what's interesting is I'm already seeing people.
But if anybody wants to audition,
yeah, and just so you know, the reason why our entertainment reporter has to be gay, because that's the rules in Hollywood. In case you hadn't noticed, you can't play someone on the spectrum unless you're on the spectrum. Everyone knows this now. So we're just following the rules, man. Every day, all day, without exception.
Yeah, if you watch any of these shows, but the reason that this formula comes to mind is because this is, if anyone has a morning zoo show in their neighborhood, you'll notice that this is pretty much the model that everyone uses because it works.
Because it's so exciting and fun to listen to. I don't know if it's still working that well.
And it works. And there's a lot of banter between the two hosts and the gay Hollywood guy.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, and that's when Jennifer jumps in and says, "That's what she said." That's just in there. We're talking to the entertainment guy, and then Dame Jennifer comes in with that. It's going to be beautiful. It will be a piece of legendary.
We're doing a pilot.
We're doing a pilot. Yes.
Half-hour pilot.
Half hour? Oh, my God. Okay. We're doing a half-hour pilot. Who's writing this pilot? Because it can't be unscripted.
I'll be doing a lot of the writing, but most of it's just going to be ad-libs, obviously, because you're doing a morning show. I think a lot of these shows have some music.
No, they have all kinds of music beds running underneath when they're talking. There's all kinds of stuff.
We can do that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So it'll be good.
I'm very excited.
We might get work.
This is our final exit strategy. It's on you, anonymous gay guy out there who's going to save us. Because this is
how. For one thing, the anonymous gay guy, or not anonymous, he has to have the gear to record his voice. In other words, he has to have something going on, that sounds professional. So he has to have a decent mic. Yes. And I think we probably have a couple dozen guys out there that would like to do this and think it's funny.
Totally.
And if you're actually gay, which you have to be for this job, although you could probably bluff us, but I don't want anyone. There's other kinds of auditions to prove it. But
is this something I'm unaware of? This bluffing you speak of? I'm not interested.
We're gonna skip that part. Yeah. Is that if you can go way over the top? I think the old term used to be flaming.
Yes, flaming.
That would be much better.
We're going to get a lot of submissions, by the way. I happen to know this for a fact. We are a much more diverse audience than you think. Very diverse.
No, I'm pretty sure we're a pretty diverse audience.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, just speaking of music and show business, you were right. Eric Clapton now came out because he did a song with Van Morrison. Eric Clapton, he said he was paralyzed for 2 weeks after his shot. He's like, I should have never gone near that needle, he's saying now. But you're right. Van Morrison is being deplatformed as anti-Semitic for his song, They Own the Media. And you know, and you brought this up on the last show. And I was so surprised because, newsflash, if there's some anti-Semites out there who think the Jews own the media, go look at Big Pharma, you morons. And if you still think that someone's saying that, I don't even think Van Morrison was thinking that way. It's clearly the pharmaceutical industry that has captured the mainstream media, clearly. And, as I learned, they're now also advertising on podcasts. And you will be surprised what they're advertising and to whom. So it is Pfizer, and they are advertising to gamers, male, 24 to 35. Do you know the product they're advertising?
Viagra.
Yes, sir. Now, if you're between 24 and 35, does that seem like a mismatch?
Need Viagra, you got problems.
Is that a mismatch of the market, or is this a party drug?
Well, there are some party drug. Yeah,
that's pretty sick. I mean,
it's unhealthy.
That level of targeting, yeah, it's very. Shouldn't that be kind of like not legal to do that, or am I just crazy?
Yeah, it should. Well, all the drug advertisements should not be legal. We're one of only 2 countries in the world that allow it. So they took over the place, and nobody's can stop them now because they got too much money. Well, look at all the money we'd lose if this was changed. Yeah, so what? It's not really hurting anything.
But they've really never been a big. There's almost no brand advertisers in podcasting, and for me to understand that they are doing a sweep, but they only do limited runs. But still, what the heck? That just feels wrong.
Well, since you're talking about podcasting, before we go to the break, podcasters, I got to play these 3 little podcast from a podcast.
Oh no! All right, what are we doing?
We're talking to this Michael Malik. I think is
he's a
Malik.
He's a podcaster. We know Michael Malik.
He's a big time podcaster, a liberal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The clip is moving to Austin 1.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you why I was so excited to...
He's hired. He's our guy. He can be on the morning show. He's done. He's in. No more audition necessary.
Well, let me tell you why I was so excited to talk to you, because I am moving to Austin for sure. 100%.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh my God.
I just decided this week, and I'll tell you exactly when. I was on the fence, and 2 things happened. One is, for me, being a lifelong New Yorker, the dream always was to have a townhouse, right? Have a townhouse in New York, you've arrived. They have townhouses in Austin. I didn't think that was a thing. My friend just moved into one. So I'm like, okay, I could have my townhouse and really Pee-wee's Playhouse it out. But when you're in New York, as long as I am, like you see certain trends that happen over years. Some things get worse, some things get better. Something that was very emblematic of 1970s New York, which was New York kind of at its worst. And you see in all those photos where the photos don't show you how smelly and violent and filthy it was and dangerous, was boomboxes everywhere. In fact, still, if you go on the subway in New York, there'll be signs that say like, no eating, no littering, and no boomboxes. We have reached a point now in New York, and this has happened the last 9 months, where it's perfectly acceptable to walk around the book bag with a speaker in it and just blast it wherever you go on the street. Everyone's scared to say anything, and the cops aren't going to do anything. And the moment where I'm like, that's it, I'm done. I was at my gym, which is not some kind of fancy Equinox gym. It's a regular, decent neighborhood gym. And there was a guy in the locker room blasting his music. And he called a member of the staff because he had forgotten the code to his locker. And the member of the staff came in, helped him get his stuff, and didn't say anything about the music. And I'm like, you know what? If I have to be a crotchety old man, I'm out of it. I hear.
Okay, a couple things. First, we're being wildly corrected by the troll room that he is not a liberal. He is a libertarian.
Okay, he's a libertarian. I don't care. It's beside the point. He's moving to Austin to live in a townhouse.
What he thinks a townhouse is here in Austin is not the same as what he thinks that is in New York, first of all.
Which is generally, in many instances, what would also be termed in
multifamily house. This is multifamily homes. So you get a big block, and they're going up everywhere. This is what something called Code Next is about. in Austin. No more
in Austin. They're building these row houses.
Well, it's multifamily homes, so there'll be 4 units in a block, and then there's a little courtyard, and there's 2 more blocks. So it looks a bit like a townhome because it's multiple levels, but it's just a hindrance because you got to walk a whole shitload of stairs all the time. But these are not townhouses the way he thinks they're townhouses. Now, there was something else he said. What else did he say in this clip? That was
boom boxes.
Boom boxes. Ah, yes. Allow me to prepare you, Michael, for what you're going to witness in the city of Austin. Since the defunding of the police department, $100 million, the 911 system has been removed from the police department. We have a 311 system, which is where you can get quicker access to professionals and services. If it's anything beyond when his bulky items pick up, you're going to be disappointed. Because we have a very bad culture that is enhancing now in Austin. It's been in the news, but now it's everywhere, including where we live, of cars with the hyped up stereos, with the huge sound systems, with the bass, and they go and these drivers, they go out, and it's every night. It's all over Austin. They're parking, they're driving, they're comparing their systems, and the bass reverberates for miles. And
I was just as you're describing this, they have those in parts of California
right,
too.
But,
I mean,
that's one of the reasons we're moving.
But how about this for our exit strategy?
Ooh, another one.
You produce some tapes or CDs in the case, it depends on the gear. And you find these guys, there's a bunch of them, there's hundreds of them that have these systems, and you have them play these things through neighborhoods, which are announcements. Attention, citizens. And it would be like those remember those in the movies, you see the car going down with the big bull horns on its roof?
Yes. Yes.
And it would be, today there's a sale on at Rayleigh's. Asparagus is 99 cents a pound.
So we're going to become sellers of advertising space in this medium. Is that your idea?
No one else is doing it.
Okay, I'll take it into consideration.
All right, let's go to part 2 of the clip.
There's more. Okay.
Yeah, he's talking to this woman who is Kristen. I think it's Tate's her last name, and she's a book writer. She's done 2 or 3 books. The last one is The Liberal Invasion of Red State America, where she's discussing, and with I guess a lot of stats, how people like this guy's moving from New York, a solid blue state, and moving into the red states and then screwing them up.
And how people are.
I'm sorry.
And she's real pretty, and she moved from New York or someplace to Texas, but she's not living in Austin because she never really tells them, anything about Austin. I think she lives in like New Braunfels or Dallas. She looks like a Dallas girl.
Oh, okay. No, that would make sense.
And how people are moving from blue states to red states, and how that's going to affect things on a national and statewide level. So I really want to give you the floor and talk about whether is this a real concern and what are the ramifications of it.
Well, first of all, I'm so happy to hear you're moving to Texas. Welcome to Texas, baby. This place is awesome. We have not been masking at all for almost the whole year. I mean, a couple of the liberal pockets did the whole mask thing for a while. In fact, Austin was the one place that had a mask mandate for quite a while. But you're going to be very happy down here. And when I hear that Michael Malice, the person who I perhaps most associate with New York, is moving to Texas, that tells me that these trends are, in full swing. Because I know you're a lifelong New Yorker.
I don't know how to drive. I'm going to have to learn how to drive.
Yeah, you're going to have to learn how to drive for sure.
No, that's what the scooters are for. He doesn't need to drive. Get on a scooter. No.
Learn how to drive.
He's going to love Austin.
Yeah, I think not. So let's go to the only thing that I thought was interesting that was kind of not about this, but they talked about some situation in New York that nobody's discussing. Let me
hopefully part 3 is about the homeless who are encamped all throughout Austin, despite the mandate being reinstated on May 11th that it seems that nothing has really changed and everyone's camping everywhere. It's dirty. It's rat infested. Surely she talked about that with him, right?
Wrong.
In the Upper West Side of Manhattan, it's the law that fancy hotels have to take in homeless people.
I know, like the Empire Hotel.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah. So these hotels, which are like $400 a night, are mandated to have homeless people inside them. And where people were complaining because the hotel was across the street from an elementary school, or maybe high school, let's pretend I'm getting completely wrong, steelman the argument. They were yelling at the parents for not being more understanding of the homeless people who were shrieking at their school children.
Yep. That was the Empire Hotel, which is across the street from an elementary school. It was
elementary, okay.
Yeah, it was one of these, one of the hotels. I know there were several that got these contracts, but what's sick about it is the hotels actually love that setup because the city of New York and the state pay them more per night to house each of these homeless people than they get on the market. So the hotels want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to house all of these homeless people, but they don't want the public to know about it because they don't want the reputation of the hotel to be damaged. Like, do you really want to stay at the Empire Hotel knowing like the night before a homeless dude was in the bed? No, of course not. So what these hotels are doing is they were trying to fill up all their rooms with these homeless people during COVID because the government would pay them way more than they were getting, just from normal patrons. And they could fill them to capacity every night. So we taxpayers, or you taxpayers, because you're in New York, you are funding the bill for these crazy expensive hotels to be filled up with homeless people. And then the hotels would go to great lengths to make sure news media could not cover it.
Okay, so we covered this. It was happening in San Francisco as well. When you get to Austin, Michael, please enjoy what your tax dollars are being spent on here. And that is also, young lady, it's also your tax dollars. Because the solution that is still being pushed by the leadership in Austin is to buy hotels. Remember, our mayor is a former real estate attorney, so I'm sure he knows exactly what he's doing. To buy hotels, and these are hotels with like 60, 70 rooms, kind of motels, and to pay to have people live there. And they think it's going to be $400 million. It will take them to 2023 to fully eradicate homelessness from Austin. And don't you dare say anything bad about it, because you will be ostracized, my friend. You do not want to say anything bad about it. So enjoy. You are jumping from the fat into the fire. The only good news about him moving to Austin is he just has to leave Austin into the state of Texas for relief. But it's...
I'm sorry, what?
The only good thing about living in Austin is all he has to do is leave Austin and enter the state of Texas, which I consider to be different, for relief.
Yeah. Well, he's not going to get the scooters there.
No, there's no scooters. He will have to learn how to drive. Holy crap. It is so time to go. It is so time to go. And I feel kind of bad, it's like I brought Rogan here. Our producer, David, Rory's dad, from the Gilmore Girls, he moved here. Everyone's moving to Austin. We're moving out.
And you're leaving.
That's right. Psych. It's great here. Mm-hmm.
You got a foot out the door.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. There's something I forgot that is for our female producers, which it's a throwback to COVID, but I need to play this because it is an official statement about the menstrual cycle being off in, near, or while taking the vaccines. And the clip custodian, Neil, he got into the COCA call, which is, what does the acronym stand for? It's something, it's like the COVID advisory call that journalists can get on and they can ask questions. And this question specifically came up.
Good afternoon. I'm Commander Ibad Khan, and I'm representing the Clinician Outreach and Communication Activity, COCA.
Oh, Clinician Outreach and Communication Activity, COCA?
with the Emergency Risk Communication Branch at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. I would like to welcome you to today's Coca Call. What clinicians need to know about Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccination of adolescents.
Coca-Cola. Okay, so they were talking about adolescents, but this is where it came up, and the answer, well, we finally have an answer.
Next question is asking specifically about female adolescent patients. Is there any data on COVID vaccine and its effects on menstrual periods, especially with heavier bleeding?
Hi, this is Dr. Woodworth. I can answer this question. So at this time, there haven't been any studies published on changes to a person's menstrual cycle as a result of COVID-19 vaccinations in adolescents or otherwise. The Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, or VAERS, which is a national vaccine safety system managed by CDC and FDA, has received reports of menstrual cycle changes, including heavier periods, but also earlier or later onset and painful menstrual cramps. But it's important to remember that many things can affect a woman's or a person's menstrual cycle, including stress-related hormones, changes in schedule, problems with sleep, infections, changes in diet and exercise, etc. So I would encourage folks, if they're worried about menstrual cycles or experience any unusual menstrual cycle-related side effects after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine, to talk to their healthcare providers and share their concerns.
There you go, ladies. We've done no studies, not interested. And if you want to know if the vaccine causes, the answer is there are many things that influence it. It could be you. It's your own problems. It's your anxiety. It's your birth control. It's you. It's you. Go talk to your doctor.
Could be magnetogenetics.
With that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put all the C's in the Coca-Cola, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John C. Dvorak.
So before we do that, I am going to do this.
Well, I don't know what it is. It's not Pabst Blue Ribbon.
It's a Spindrift sparkling water with real squeezed grapefruit.
Yum. Somehow it doesn't work as well as the Pabst Blue Ribbon thing, but okay, if you want to blow the joke.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry, in the morning, all ships. Pabst never gave us any beer.
That's true.
All the ships and sea boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and neither did La Croix. No. So what am I going to do? This I got free from one of the meetup people.
In the morning.
In the morning, yeah.
Yeah, in the morning. In the morning. To the trolls in the troll room. Hey, trolls! It's time for the troll call. Yeah, this was a new one we came up with. Troll call! Let's count, y'all. Let's hands up. Let's see what we got for this Sunday, 2015.
Troll call.
Troll. Do that again. That was good.
Troll call.
You can't quite understand it, but I like it. Troll call, yes. 2015, that's where we'd like to be. We'd like to be over the 2K mark. These are people who are listening. Well, they're trolls, but they're listening live to the show, which is, by the way, that feature is coming to Podcasting 2.0 as well. Your podcast app will give you a notification when a show is streaming live, and you'll just click on it, and it'll play right there in your podcast app, newpodcastapps.com. It's all coming. And this also has a chat room. We're working on that part, too, across apps. There's a little more work has to go into it. But it's been going for, my goodness, we've had the troll room at least for at least 12, 13 years since the very beginning. And we added the stream to that. So even when there's not a live show and there's plenty of them, you can listen to the same podcast and troll along with it, or just troll each other and do whatever trolls do in their spare time. You may be trolling over on noagendasocial.com. Well, I do have some news update about No Agenda Social as I talked to Aaroner, who runs the whole shebang for us about the upload problem you mentioned, which he was aware of. And the reason why is, we opened up for registrations and we immediately came under a registration attack, of course. And it's, if you open these things up, even with invites, it just, people just come in and just want to hack into our community. And so that was creating huge database entries. It has to create a whole table for each new person. And remember, this costs money, and it's not even that much about the money. I've offered many times to pay him for anything. He doesn't want it. He sees it as a service and donation to the show value, which of course it is. But we're stopping registrations. It's over. It's closed down. It's done with. This is the limit. You cannot handle. We would need to start hiring staff for this. No. It's a social media network at noagendasocial.com. It's federated, which means you can follow along with everything from any other Mastodon server. You can even start one yourself. One of our producers sent me a link. I think it is in the show notes that shows you how to set up your own Mastodon server. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but hey, freedom has never come really easy. But you can follow anyone at noagendasocial.com. I'm at Adam at noagendasocial.com. He's at John C. Dvorak at noagendasocial.com. And yes, while you can't be a part of that early community with the timeline, I don't get the timeline. Believe me, your timeline will be just fine. Learn how to manage it. Learn how to decentralize. It's the only way to go. It is the No Agenda OTG way. And I look forward to many more Mastodon instances and servers that we can talk to, point to, send people to, instead of gitmo.life, which are the only ones who've done it so far. So that's it. We're locked down, closed out. Not going to happen no more. Hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Well, as you were given that spiel of complaint, a train went in the opposite direction carrying the boxcars back, the ones going to China.
Any shit going to China?
Yeah, 12 cars.
So it's a 10-to-1 ratio, pretty much.
Yeah, or 11, 12 to 1, maybe.
Yeah.
It's going. It's such a small train. It doesn't even have the big engines in front. It's a couple of mules. There's little big guys pulling it. Okay. I don't know what they're doing with all the containers.
We want to thank Darren O'Neill for the episode artwork for episode 1346. He caught on to my swine flu super T-cell immunity and created just a piece that we came back to several times. Said, yeah, that's kind of the one, which is the pig. Kiss me, I have super immunity. Well done, well executed. Classic Darren O'Neill. Tinge of a red background, so he's done his homework well. We did ponder for quite a while the correct the record exploding leg. Why did we not wind up
the exploding leg?
Why did we wind up not choosing that? I can't really remember. Oh, I remember why. I remember why.
You didn't like it.
No. It's always, I hate this, I hate dogs, I hate people, I didn't like it. No.
Somebody clip it. What he just said.
I'll clip it for you. It was because it would only show as a nuclear cloud on the Twitter post.
No. Yeah. Oh, right. What you said, now I remember exactly. You said that won't show up right on Twitter because Twitter, they cut
it off. Yeah.
They cut it off up and down, and they make it somehow there's an algorithm that makes a decision of where it's going to cut it off.
Yep.
And you determined, and I think probably correctly, that it's not, whatever part it cuts off is not going to look good.
No.
Whereas the pig is always going to look good.
Pigs are good lookers traditionally when it comes to artwork.
Yeah.
Now
that argument was convincing.
We love Tom to Nail's morning zoo with the goat, but we know we're going to use that. It's just this wasn't the show. I mean, that is our T-shirt logo. That is money in the bank for the pitch. When we pitch it, to the networks.
Yeah.
I mean, that was such a beautiful piece. And then Parker Pauly did something really, really cool, which was the Trump History Channel with the golden Trump hair over the H.
Hair over the H. Yeah.
So good, but we looked at it and it was too many words. He had the Trump History Channel by itself would have been good, but then it is, we can't afford to forget, relive the lies, relive the hate, debuting some. It was too much. It was just a little too much. But
it also didn't have that much to do with the show.
No. And we did look Darren O'Neill's No Agenda in the La Croix water box, which was...
That was actually a pretty piece. It was just but I consider it an evergreen.
It was very good piece. But we don't get anything from those guys, so we're not gonna.
No, now I'm drinking the Spendthrift stuff. I have to review it. Now, he said, he gives me this, he's Canadian, one of our producers. He says,
oh, this was sent to you. This is an actual, now tell us again.
No, he was at the meetup, but he lives in the U.S., but he's Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, this is what you should be drinking instead of the La Croix grapefruit, which I praised.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, this has got actual grapefruit juice in it. 1 grapefruit per case of this stuff. It seems so. Now I can give it a review. The La Croix grapefruit is quite tasty. People like it, but it's, it's like, it's professionally developed. This tastes like really sour grapefruit juice that doesn't have much going on. It's not good.
Oh,
but
I'm sorry to hear
it's
that.
free, and if somebody sends me cases, I'll drink it.
No shame here. No shame at all. We really appreciate Darren for so many reasons. He also was the first one to send me the first part of this recording today, which for some reason didn't get recorded. It's all real time. This is why we are Gitmo Nation. We are Legion. We are all one. We are the producers of the No Agenda Show. And if you're using a Podcasting 2.0 app, I suggest Podcast Addict. It's a really good one if you're using it on Android. If you plug it into your car and you have Android Car or whatever it's called, you will see these images rotating in real time on your dashboard or wherever it's displayed. This is the future of podcasting. And tonight, the Ambies, John, the Ambies. This is the
what's the Ambies? Is that given out by Ambien?
Yes, it's the Ambies are the award show for the newly formed new version of the Podcast Academy, and they are going to be streaming this live. There is a hope that the Ambies can bring audiences back to award shows. And you're pretty.
How's that going to work?
There's articles about this. Can the new Podcast Academy break the award show curse? Says the Los Angeles Times. I mean,
what?
Do you see the shit I'm fighting to preserve podcasting? This kind of idiocy. Yeah, this is the Los Angeles Times.
So this must gall you.
Award ceremonies have failed big lately. Can the new Podcast Academy break the curse? Well, no. And, of course.
How's that going to work? Is Scarlett Johansson got a podcast? She's going to be at the event and take off her top? Is that going to bring up the numbers?
That would be the Curry Dvorak Consulting Group strategy, but no. No, this is now the Board of Governors, you have to understand. They have the podcast awards, the Board of Governors who are somehow in charge of this. They have executives from Amazon.
The Broadcast Board of Governors from the United States of America?
No, the Podcast Academy Board of Governors.
Oh.
I know. I love what happened, podcasting? You came up with academies and Board of Governors, which includes heavy hitters from Amazon, Spotify, iHeartMedia, and NPR. But also independent. So, podcasting, you now have indie podcasters. You see, you and I, we're not podcasters according to this group of dicks. No, we're indie podcasters. Excuse me. And it's going to be all virtue signaling.
Well, a good job of public relations with the Los Angeles Times and a press release and somebody going in there and selling the idea of a story.
Let me just see this. Steve Wilson. Mm-hmm. Steve Wilson, Chief Strategy Officer at podcasting company Q Code. You see, they do. They're doing stories on podcasting, like scripted, because they think that they're going to make movies and TV shows out of it. And one of the Podcast Academy's nearly 1,000 members said critical validation is a virtuous circle. Uh-huh.
How many members?
1,000.
Oh, can I ask you a question then?
Sure.
You do the podcast index.
Yes.
There's a number and it has the total podcasts out there. How many are there?
3.5 million feeds in total.
That's 3.5 million separate podcasts?
Correct.
And they have 1,000.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to get perspective. Continue.
Well, okay. The Academy hired a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant before it even settled on a logo at the urging of a founding group of board governors, including independent podcast consultant Rekha Murthy, whoever that is.
Who?
Rekha Murthy. Rekha Murthy, Murthy.
Murthy?
Yeah, I've never heard of this person.
Well,
but
somebody did.
Murthy, who was the consultant, that was not us, said the Academy was really intentional from the beginning to ensure a diversity of background and professional expertise for the makeup of the board. You see, that's why we're not in. To old white guys not wanted here. The whole thing is sad. It's sad. There's no reason for an award show. I mean, back in the day when there was 25 people and 3,000 podcasts, yeah, it was fun to do that at the end of the podcast expo. But come on. This makes no sense. It's so subjective. What's good? What's a good podcast? What category? What country? No. Anyway, podcasting 2.0. Support us, everybody. Try a new app, newpodcastapps.com. All right. Now, let us thank...
Jeez.
What?
Well, it's depressing.
A little bit, but...
It's like a bunch of hangers-on and Johnny-come-latelys and wannabes and phonies and people that can't get on NPR with the regular material, but they can do a podcast.
Well...
And it's not... Yeah.
All right, let me just... Since you asked the number, I just want to give you some statistics, and you tell me what's really going on here, because it's a big bubble of poop. So if we look at the podcast index has the most podcasts of any index anywhere. In the past 60 days, 600,000 of those podcasts have updated. That's a lot less than the 3.7 million that are listed, of which many are just dead.
Yeah, there's a lot of dead podcasts.
So if there's a so-called $1 billion marketplace, how does that work out? I'll just tell you right now. There's probably 1,000 shows. They might be on the board of governors who are making all the money. Everyone else is getting nothing. This is a phony market. There is no you cannot monetize the network. It does not work. You'll always have a few. Of course, NPR gets radio ad buys, of course, for their podcasts. Of course, you're going to get lumped in with radio buys. Nothing has changed. Nothing. This is not a market. Value for value is the way to go, and we have shown the way for you. We have shown the way for you for, probably 12 years. And yet, there's the board of governors trying to make podcasting and advertising work and doing award shows that no one will care about. Destruction of capital is what I call it. Just the destruction of capital. Anyway, the value for value model works much better because you don't need to care about downloads or listens or anything of the ilk. All you need to do is have some people out there who support you, and they will support you.
You also don't have to care about the demos.
The demos, there's no meetings. It's a big bonus. No meetings. All you have to care about is if you can pay the rent. That's it. And it works. We've proven it. Now, you will not be on the board of governors. You will not get your shining star, but you might be able to eat. And the following people...
You can be a producer, executive producer. You can be a knight.
Yes.
You get a lot of things better than the board of governors.
Exactly. I would say a knight status is a bit above board of governors. In fact, the knight, don't they work at the behest of the knight?
I would think.
Yeah. Let us thank some of these fine executive producers and associate executive producers who were sponsored episode, and I say sponsored as in they actually made it happen, like a charity to a degree. Thank you so much. They have done that with their...
First of all, I want to thank that we had a couple of donations coming from the over $50 coming from the
tell me
meetup.
Tell me about the meetup. I want to hear how it was.
It was great. It was about 30 people.
Oh, nice.
I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a different crowd because I haven't been to a meetup since the Oakland one, way before COVID. And it's a different group.
Okay.
It's like a different, and I talked to Eric about this. And
did Eric go with you? Eric went with you?
No, he was busy here. He's doing some work.
Okay.
And he wanted to, and so did Jay, but neither one of them did. So Eric says the same thing. He says he's been to some meetups up north. He says and a lot of it has to do with the Roganites.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He says the vibe. He said he can't describe it either, but he says the vibe is different, and I think that's true.
But is that good
it's a slightly less nerdy group.
Mm-hmm. Good. It's good.
The women are pretty. A whole group of them. There
that's
wasn't
our
one
report.
woman that wasn't a knockout.
And that's the report. Great report.
That's the report. That's all you need to know. So everybody, all you guys, flock to these meetups.
But were there good-looking guys? Any good-looking guys there? I mean,
good guys are all good-looking. It was a good-looking group.
There you go.
The spot the spook thing was a problem, though. They had a little contest, the night that held the thing to spot the spook. Nobody could spot the spook. There were 3 candidates, in the way I saw it, including him, that could have all been spooks. So I gave up on that idea that you can't spot the spook at these meetups anymore because of this change, the change in the of the model, and they seem to be more party oriented. All of them have been to more than one meetup. They keep going. It's like a
how
club.
About this?
It's more like
how about this?
Clubby.
How about they're all spooks?
Now you're talking.
It's just a bag
There's
of
a
spooks
distinct
showing up.
possibility of they're all being.
If they're good looking.
By the way, the woman who wrote the poem that you read was there.
Oh, really? Spook?
She could be a spook, but she says she works at Cal. But she could be a spook. I mean, you don't know. She works at Cal. I mean, Cal is a spook school.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so you
welcome.
Don't know.
Now, are they donating? Who cares?
No, they're not donating like the old group.
Oh, darn it.
So we got $100 from Baronet of Nob Hill, Pete Boyle, and then also $100 from Lai Chow in Daly City.
Oh.
Thank you for your courage. But the Baronet had his donation was 4 ounces of Canadian silver coins.
Oh,
very pretty coins.
Oh, nice,
very pretty. I could monetize those somehow and get into the system. Okay. So let's go to our regular executive producer.
Monetize the coins.
Monetize coins.
Yeah,
just put them on the books. Put them on the books.
Yeah, I'll put them on the books.
So we got Gene Morphus, the night of neurogenesis in Bellingham, Massachusetts.
Yeah, I have his note here. This is a funny note. So this is a handwritten note for 3:45.
No, it's not.
No, well, he has some handwritten stuff on it. It's a type note, but he has some handwritten. Oh, that's Eric's handwritten stuff. I'm sorry. Dear, alert the affiliates, put the kibosh on it, is how he opens. Please find the enclosed remuneration for value received. I'm pausing my relentless march to a barony to attribute this value toward my son Blake's knighthood. Blake hit me in the mouth a few years ago, and I've been a steady listener since. Blake and his charming and talented fiancée Kim will be wed on May 22nd. Please give them karma for a long, happy, loving marriage. This is Knight of Neurogenesis, Gene Morphus. Now, so does that mean we put him on the donation, or is it just the attribution for his knighthood?
I think it's just the attribution for his knighthood. He doesn't specifically say that.
Okay, good.
You've got karma.
Sir Fur comes in from parts unknown with the $340. I have his note here. Love to know agenda show you deconstruction and humor are great, but the real value is this. You confirm the conclusions that I reach on my own. That is good for my sanity. Actually, when we started doing the show, that's the first thing people noticed.
Yep.
We're not doing anything out of the ordinary. We're just taking a look at things logically. I have decided to conduct a wealth transfer to the No Agenda show for my children's inheritance.
Yes! Now you're talking.
My eldest son is a millennial Eagle Scout, National Merit Scholar who leans libertarian.
Wow.
Last fall, he came home for a visit and tried to convince me that Donald Trump is a racist.
Oh, man. No wonder you just lost your inheritance, son, Eagle Scout or not.
After this is $340, so it's just the beginning.
It's just the start of a long
journey. After a few
journey.
discussions, I realized that our debate on the subject was not productive.
Wow.
We dropped it there, both of us unconvinced. Anyways, I plan to bequeath to my children my rights and privileges as a No Agenda producer, along with key episode numbers.
Nice.
And so that when the reading of the will. So, so Bill, you get to listen to show 1143 at 1207, and here's $10. I want to help perpetuate the availability of the show far into the future. Maybe someday when we are all dead, my offspring can go back and listen with an open mind.
Wow.
This also brings up questions about the transfer of hereditary titles, primogenitor, and so forth. Maybe a question for a future note. Maybe, maybe not. Carmen, no jingles. Thank you for your courage, Sir Fur.
That is interesting. So, if you're a knight, or if you rise to barony status or duke, do your children automatically have hereditary titles?
This needs to be discussed at a meeting.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I mean, I think I like this though. I really like transferring the wealth from your child's inheritance to us. And really, thank you. Really appreciate that.
You've got karma.
That's dynamite. Then we have Tom Turner from Salt Lake City, Utah. And we have a note from him. Yes.
Yeah, $335.13.
Got it here. Dear John and Adam, and this is also a typewritten note. Today's my birthday. I want to celebrate by thanking you for making the greatest podcast in the universe. We like to say the best, but thank you. We'll take greatest too. Please find enclosed with this donation some samples of what I believe is the greatest waterproof phone pouch in the universe, the Stash 7 Water Pocket. I designed an entrepreneur. I designed and launched the Water Pocket about a year ago because everything else there in this space just simply sucks. And despite COVID, I've got no complaints. Sales have been great, especially in Texas and Florida. Yeah, well, of course, we're in the water. That's right. As one of your original Rogan converts, I wasn't expecting that.
Rogan donation.
No Agenda became a fast and familiar friend while spending long hours assembling water pockets and making each and every leash from scratch here in my garage. That's how HP started. However, I'm starting to outgrow the garage and need to start scaling up. So if it's okay, I'd like to make a call out to any producers out there in the beach, outdoor, or phone accessory industries, as any possible partnerships, connection, or recommendation would be greatly appreciated. Also, would love to offer a 33% discount to all No Agenda producers. Just enter the promo code MOFO at Stash7, that's Stash number 7, .com. Stay high, stay dry, he says. Well, that's good. I'm very happy that he's has an entrepreneurial venture that is working.
The little stash device that he sent is appreciated. Jay liked it.
I have not seen this yet.
And, yeah.
Well, I've seen it. Yeah.
Eric's here, and he looked at he went like that. and then when Jay took hers, Eric says, he kind of hedged. And next thing you know, he wanted the other one, which was going to go to you, but now it went to him.
But he's filching my stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Well, I'm sure our friend, Tom Turner will be glad to send you one if you give him his address.
Okay.
They're nice. If you need something to stick a phone in, you can still use the phone. It's got a clear front side, and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
I think it's as good as it gets for that kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. Thank you very much for your courage, sir. Did he didn't need any jingles or anything, did he? No. Okay. Perfect.
Maybe.
Perfect. Oh, I see him now. Oh, these are kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, if you need that kind of thing.
If you need it, yeah. If you're just walking around with this.
It doesn't really do me any good since my phone's in the drawer.
If I'm walking around with this on 6th Street, people would ask me if I'd escaped from the loony bin. But yeah, in the water, it makes sense. Excellent. All right.
Jason Olrum comes in with $333.33 from Dillsburg, Pennsylvania. Please see my email with a note about the great retees.com t-shirt brand official launch. I never saw a note. Definitely wasn't under the name donation. I would have seen it. And you should have put your note here where you would put this note.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I looked forward to
the great retees, GREATRETEES.com. Check it out.
Catherine and Steve Zeiser, 33333 from Long Beach, California. Moving to Austin soon, no doubt. Thank you, John and Adam, for continuing to help us keep us sane over the last year. Yes, often heard. And for keeping our amygdala small. You're welcome. Who knew we would be living in a Pfizer native ad? I'd like the show credit and donation to be attributed to one of our sons, Matt Zeiser, who hit us in the mouth at the start of Corona. Health karma and jobs karma for all. Keep up the good work, from Catherine and Steve. That's incredibly nice, and Matt shall be duly attributed. Oops, we'll do a jobs here.
Jobs, jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
So that is a switcheroo.
Yep, switcheroo it is.
Number 6, okay.
Yep.
Sir Charles Knight of the coin-operated laundromat's back with $333.33 from Broomfield, Colorado. Thank you for creating such a great show and keeping my amygdala small. I love hearing the notes from the excellent producers, especially the recurring characters like Sir Onimus, Dave Fugazotto, starring Sir Onimus, Dave Fugazotto, and all the Grand Dukes.
That's right.
Also, I appreciate all the producers who donate their time and talent for clips, show art, meetups, and especially end-of-show mixes. Adam, can you give me a Theodorable in the morning? And please grant me some much-needed real estate goat karma. If you have space, can you play John's donation haunt at the end of show? Mwah! Donate. Love is lit. Sir Charles of the coin-operated laundromat.
Sure thing, Sir Charles. And thank you for your karma.
In the morning.
Aw.
You've got karma.
That kid's got talent, John. We got to exploit that for the morning show.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'll get this when you get the next one because it's off the sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Nerf Herder and Turkey Bird comes in at $333. Please don't use my real name. Oh, I'm sorry, Turkey Bird. We love the show. Here's some money. Adam, serve up your most potent job transfer moving karma, please. Love and light.
All right, I got something potent for it. Love is lit, they say. No? Love and light. No, I did say love and light. Hey, that's wrong. It should be love and lit.
Jobs.
Love is lit.
Job. You've got
There you go. Sven Granholm, 333 from the United States, where unknown. Another Rogan donation. Hi, guys. Whole load followed by Fauci Wee's karma for my sister-in-law's brand new human resource. Okay. I'm a serial domestic abuser. Hit my... It took me back a second there. I hit my smoking hot wife and her smoking hot sister, my dad, one of the top young black lawyers in the country, and a handful of other folks since I started listening. They're all douchebags. My smoking hot wife and I decided to not have a TV when we got married in 2003 because it's a waste of time. And now realize how much MK Ultra mind control we've avoided. Yes, clearly you are perfect for producing the No Agenda Show. Over the years, with the addition of a handful of human resources and not a clear understanding, we compromised and ended up with Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon Prime. Well, no more. Over the last 12 months, we really woke up, and one thing led to another. Disney Plus got canned when we read about the subliminal messaging and their overall agenda. Netflix was next with Cuties, and Amazon Prime finally got the axe with Them. We also got rid of all social media apps, stopped using Facebook and Twitter entirely, and only browse on Instagram. My smoking hot wife still uses occasionally, but has severely cut down. It's tough, I know. It's tough for the women. No Agenda has now become our main source of news, and has led us to doing more deconstruction on our own. That's very good. I often hear the ding of Adam's bell when I listen to a news article now. Viewing all news as either propaganda or advertising is enlightening. Anyways, thanks for all you do. This donation is about equal to the amount we were spending annually on streaming services, and you, the No Agenda Show, are actually worth it. Love is lit. Love you mean it. How about that? That is a great parental unit, don't you think?
Yeah, I would think.
I mean, that's really, really fantastic. Your kids...
There's some jingles there?
Yeah, I was just going to say, your kids are going to grow up to be super duper.
You've got karma.
We go to Australia with Yurli Filanoff, $256, associate executive producer. In the morning, everybody, confirming jobs. Karma works.
All right.
It works.
It works.
All the best to all the producers out there. That's the end of that. Nice. No jingles, no karma this time. Sam Selinsky comes in at $244.44, and he says, please see email, and he's got an email address, which I looked up. I don't have it. I am going to now make some sort of a determination here that people should recognize. If you're going to write all of the stuff, if you can't find the box and you have to write email and you're not using the search word or the subject line donation, which is where I grab these from, generally speaking, and a lot of these don't have donation as a subject line, even though I harp on it every single show. Send a check in to the post office box and you can write a note and we'll read the note from the paper.
Crazy idea. Crazy idea. 20512 from Sir C. Rock of the Landlock, Brainerd, Minnesota. Hey guys, thank you for your courage. Sorry for War and Peace. I humbly request a de-douching with a twist of goat. Well,
You've been de-douched.
I'm a JRE convert. Joe kept talking about how this VJ from my childhood invented podcasting. When a guest asked Joe if he ever had Adam on, he said that he had never had, nor had he listened to Adam's podcast, but he did know of the name. Luckily, Google exists, and I was well-versed with the show's quirkiness by the time Adam was actually on JRE. It was wonderful to meet other members of Gitmo Nation at the Beer, Barbecue, and Axe-Throwing Freedom Fest in the gateway to the Northwoods' beautiful Nisswa, Minnesota, and I look forward to meeting more of you at the Minnesota Outdoor Enthusiast Meetup in July. Anyhows, I'm asking the most powerful host of the most powerful podcast in the universe and all the members of Gitmo Nation to send me their most powerful custody karma and good vibes with a twist of goat. My firstborn lives out of state with her mother, and COVID prevented me from getting any partying time in 2020. Now the firstborn's mother is refusing to bring her for my parenting time this summer and is suing me to reduce my parting time, not partying, parting time. You were kind enough to grant, although who knows, you were kind enough to grant the travel karma for my second-born who made it safely to Europe, and it worked wonderfully. Picture of him in the tulip fields of Holland below, which I did not see. Okay, so we'll give you some karma. Jingle requests below, and he wants me to not read them out, but just play them. Okay, we can do that.
It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused. I'm going to give you the whole load today.
I think that sounds pretty good.
It's almost too delicious to believe, my friend.
You've got karma.
Another lewd
story.
Another lewd story brought to you by...
Another lewd story by our lewd audience. Well, last on the list here is Sir Saturday Night.
Mm-hmm.
K-N-I-G-H-T. It's a pun, Sir Saturday Night in Toronto, Ontario. And he comes in with $200 and says, hey, John and Adam, this $200 Scandinavian donation is for a big announcement that I'd like you guys to play on show 1347. Please check your email.
It's too bad that he's not following the rules that we discussed so clearly over the past few episodes. We cannot be playing jingles and stuff you send in, because then everyone's going to do it. And it's not always funny or great. So is that not our policy?
Well, the policy, I believe, that's the basis of the policy. And it was implemented after the one guy sent in an entire script with you having to plug in jingles as you did the reading, which was asking too much. We did it, by the way. We do everything once. And I don't know what he sent us, but it's probably it needs to be dissuaded. I don't know. I'll listen to it later. If it's something we have to play or should play, we'll play it on the next show.
Okay.
I forwarded it to you. I never listened to it. I just got it and said, oh, that's Adam. I'm going to send it to you.
Gosh, man. Did you read my reply? Maybe if I put donation in my emails, you'll read my replies. Okay.
Your reply was unpleasant. So, okay. That's it, by the way. That is our group of associate executive producers and executive producers, more or less, for show 1347.
Exactly. We want to thank everyone who has supported the show, but these are the ones that get the credits. And they're real. They function in Hollywood, or what's left of it. You can probably get some premium seating at the Ambies if you show up and say, hey, I'm executive producer of the No Agenda Show. Maybe they'll hook you up and be in the audience. For sure, it's a resume builder, and we want everyone else to be able to benefit from that. So if you want one of these nifty titles, everything is explained perfectly on this website.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Thank you again for your time, your talent, and your treasure in producing episode 1347.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth. Whoa. Order. Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you to do something. I'm tired of carrying the show. I'm tired of carrying the show, man. Come on.
Here we go.
Step it up.
All right, so let's do this. Now, we didn't do this when it first showed up, but we're going to do it now.
Okay.
The CIA has decided to come out with some videos, and they've got a new YouTube channel.
Yes, this is their recruitment
and they've
videos.
come out with a bunch of videos to get people to join the CIA. And they're all and they're called the woke videos because they're extremely woke.
Now, we did play one of them. We played a piece of the I think, didn't we play a piece of the millennial who had psychological issues and was
this is we got the whole thing this time.
Okay. All right. Excellent.
Now we do but I have it mixed in with people's reactions to it. And so I got Crystal Ball and everybody reacted to it. Tucker Carlson. The thing is, the only person that was actually quite funny reacting to it is this podcaster, a video podcaster named Shoe on Head.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm sure the people in the troll room know who she is. And she's a cynical little complainer who is very funny, in my opinion, but she's, like a younger millennial. And I wanted her to introduce the woke video with her CIA intro, Shoe on Head.
I woke up the other day to hundreds and hundreds of tweets, emails, messages telling me about this new woke CIA ad. And I watched it, and it was bad. Not only do they have one ad, they have an entire YouTube channel. That's right, the CIA has a YouTube channel. Better yet, it is monetized. The f***ing CIA can monetize their channel, but God forbid any of us talk about politics.
God. Hey, you watch this stuff?
I love it.
Oh, God. Okay.
Here is the video. This is the whole thing. This is 119. Now, I don't know why it's 119. I suspect it's been edited down. 119 is not a normal length for anything.
No, it's purely for YouTube then, I guess.
I don't know. But this is the CIA, the video Latinx.
When I was 17, I quoted Zora Neale Hurston's How It Feels to Be Colored Me in my college application essay. The line that spoke to me stated simply, I am not tragically colored. There is no sorrow dammed up in my soul nor lurking behind my eyes. I do not mind at all. At 17, I had no idea what life would bring, but Zora's sentiment articulated so beautifully how I felt as a daughter of immigrants then and now. Nothing about me was or is tragic. I am perfectly made. I can wax eloquent on complex legal issues in English while also belting Guayaquil de mis amores in Spanish. I can change a diaper with one hand and console a crying toddler with the other. I am a woman of color. I am a mom. I am a cisgender millennial who's been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder.
Wow.
I am intersectional, but my existence is not a box-checking exercise. My parents left everything they knew and loved to expose me to opportunities they never had. Because of them, I stand here today a proud first-generation Latina and officer at CIA. I am unapologetically me. I want you to be unapologetically you, whoever you are. Know your worth. Command your space.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know why the CIA is doing this, but we have shoe on head commentary, just a short piece here from her, CIS gender. I just thought this was a good 6 seconds.
Cisgender. Why did they throw cisgender in there? Are most people working at the CIA trans?
I'm not quite sure why.
Most people working at the CIA trans.
I'm not sure which one is worse, the CIA video or the show on head.
Oh, no, shoe on head. She's the best.
Shoe on head.
So let's go to Crystal Ball. She's more mainstream.
She uses every single buzzword in the book. And if the CIA is weaponizing this language so that you focus on the surface level rather than saying like, oh, you're the daughter of immigrants from Latin America. Why don't we talk about this, what the CIA's role in Latin America has been? Like, let's dig into that. So, yeah, I mean, they clearly have recognized that this is a really great way to pretend like you're progressive, pretend like you're a moral actor. All you have to do is like say the right words in the lexicon and you get a pass for all of the horror that you have wrought throughout the world and continue to do, by the way, just if you use the right words here. So yeah, it's one of the most cynical and disturbing things I've honestly ever seen.
And there you have your comments.
My comment is, this is all so stupid. The videos and the commentary. It's like the CIA put it out just so people be preoccupied with talking about it. I fail to see. I mean,
well, I'm sorry I brought it up.
No. You're misunderstanding me. I don't understand why Crystal Ball and Tucker Carlson, everyone's all bent out of shape, and it's the conversation of the day. Oh my good, like nothing else is going on. Like that's what we got to be worried. It's obvious they need to recruit these people because they need to infiltrate the same kind of people. Hello, this is your new person that needs to be honey trapped, and and she's saying it right up front. I'm cisgender, so when I come to honey trap you, you know what I'm into.
She's not a honey trap type. You've seen her. She's for one thing, she's heavy.
It's subjective.
She's got a T-shirt on that's got a fist on it and an ank.
An ank?
Yeah, an ank. Or a version of an ank.
Well, this must be the entire coven of.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
The coven of leadership at CIA.
I think they're dead sincere. I don't believe any of your assertions. I think they're dead sincere. They're trying to get more women of color and other women, and cisgender or not, trans, neurotic. It doesn't make any difference. We got to load up and go from there.
Well,
with the right kind of person, with the right kind of thinker.
Well, isn't that perfect? The CIA will implode. It's gonna collapse on itself. This is not going to work. These are not going to be good spies.
Well, this is a desk worker, you can tell, but no, they're not going to be good spies. But they're going to be woke spies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I take this very seriously. I think this is this is not the only one. There's a bunch of these. And there's one with this black guy with a BIG, a black in government club that's part of the agency and a bunch of these things.
Oh, that's
the BIGs. You look at the BIGs. You and Mo should talk about that.
I want to be a WIB, a WIG, a wig. We got the bigs and the wigs. We got the bigs and the wigs. Jeez. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, to me, this was an outrage about a week ago, and everyone was jumping up and down about it. And I mean, it just seems like it's just there. It just is. I mean, is it any different than the stupid FBI who were sexting each other? Is it any different from any of these jamokes? To me, it's a good thing. Let everybody see what kind of shit is going on in our government.
Well, that's what you're saying.
Yeah. What else you got from them? Oh,
I got some. Here's an interesting clip. This is This is a good example. I don't know what the Chinese are trying to pull here because they're not going to get a lot of support. They essentially own their own all the billionaires. And here's the latest with Jimmy Lai, the one independent thinker that's still in Hong Kong. They've arrested him again, or he's already in jail.
Are we off CIA now? I'm sorry. Are we off?
That's all I got for CIA.
Oh, okay. All right.
I just thought I'd like to know what intersectional means for the CIA, but it's not important. Hong Kong report with Jimmy Lai.
In Hong Kong, authorities used a national security law to seize more than $60 million in assets belonging to Jimmy Lai, the billionaire backer of Next Media, a frequent China critic. NPR's Emily Fang has more.
Lai is facing 3 charges under the National Security Law, a law implemented by Beijing to block most dissent in Hong Kong. Using that law, police seized Lai's shares in Next Media and his holdings in 3 other companies. If Lai is found guilty, he faces a maximum sentence of life in prison. Lai is already serving a 14-month jail sentence for participating in 2 2019 protests against the government.
Yeah, not sure what they're going to do with him. He was
going to lock him up and throw away the key.
Yeah, news publisher.
And he's a Hong Konger. He thought he had some, maybe the international people help me. No, it's not going to happen. Another news item that we didn't talk too much about, and I didn't want to, is this situation with Liz Cheney.
Yeah.
And I have 2 clips.
Okay, why did you decide from going not wanting to talking about her to 2 clips?
Are you going to question every clip I come up with?
No, I'm curious. You said it. You said I didn't want to bring it up.
I didn't, and now it's because I feel it's something we should probably discuss.
Okay.
And there seems to be some phony baloney Republican rebellion because of the 100 Republicans. This is new. And so the 100 Republicans and all the news media is all over the 100 Republicans. None of them are acting Republicans. They're just ex-Republicans.
So no one's in Congress. They're just Republicans.
They're just a bunch of Republicans.
Oh,
maybe Liz Cheney would be in this group.
They're a brave group, though. Very brave to go against.
So the 100, that's all they can come with. 100 Republicans that think the party's going down the tubes. It's a cult. All they like is Trump. And Liz Cheney, because the mainstream media is just Liz Cheney crazy.
Yeah.
They love Liz Cheney.
As long as they can.
I tried to point this out in the newsletter over and over again. They always hated her.
Yeah, but until she became a useful tool to say Trump on television, now they love her. That's why. That gives them the opportunity to say Trump. Ratings. Give me some ratings. Trump. Right?
100 Republicans. Play this clip, and then I'll play the counter clip.
Other Republicans looking to loosen that grip or to create something new. Earlier this week, more than 100 Republicans signed on to that idea. In a Washington Post opinion piece, 5 former Republican leaders described the effort saying, quote, "If we cannot save the Republican Party from itself, we will help save America from extremist elements in the Republican Party." Here to tell us more about it is one of the authors, former New Jersey Governor Christine Todd Whitman. Governor Whitman, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
So first, your reaction to the whole situation with Congresswoman Cheney and her being ousted and then replaced by a Trump loyalist. What's your take on all that?
Well, I mean, it was sort of the final straw that made it very hard for anybody to think that the Republican Party, was about anything other than loyalty to Donald Trump. Because if you look at Liz Cheney's voting record in the House, she was extremely loyal. She voted 80 to 90% of the time with the Trump administration, whereas Elise Stefanik was about 50 to 60% of the time. So by replacing Liz Cheney with Elise Stefanik, they were saying very clearly, nothing matters. It's not policy. It's not principle. It's, are you loyal to this man? Because if you dare to cross him, then you're out. And so that's not a party. That's a cult.
Really? Is that the definition of a cult? Or of a regime?
Well, somebody has to lead the party. And usually the president, whoever the president was, whether it's in or out, is the guy, he's the titular guy who runs the party. I mean, it's not a new thing that they have the president that was elected, voted in, and was nominated, run the party. It's not a big shocker, but it seems to be to people like Whitman and some of these other, I don't know, liberal Republicans. And to be defending Liz Cheney, especially from her, Liz Cheney just voted very conservative all the time. It doesn't mean she was supporting Trump.
But do you think...
So this is nonsense.
Do you think this is purely a media play just to, as I said, just have Trump in there and they just get anyone who's media horny just to jump in and be a part of it? Or do you think that there's some concerted effort?
That has to be an angle. But this Liz Cheney thing is getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to July 2020. And this is the thing that people always forget. Now, this is going to be Glenn Greenwald. Unfortunately, that means it's Glenn Greenwald. And he
nothing against
basically
Glenn
can't
Greenwald.
stop talking.
Yeah, he's long. He can't stop writing, can't stop talking. But we do like him. We've always liked him.
In fact, in his last Substack, he's doing this now on Substack. He writes a long Substack with a reasonably good complaint and then puts a video of himself, because you can do that now, into the Substack where he talks for a good half hour.
About what he just wrote.
Well, yes.
You're getting your money's worth with Glenn, though, aren't you? You're getting a multimedia experience, a multimedia Greenwald experience. Nice.
So lest we forget, when Greenwald was still at The Intercept, the reason I'm playing this clip, lest we forget what this is really all about. And when we listen to these warmongering Republicans, listen to the Glenn Greenwald discussion of the 4 amendments that they tried to put into the military procurement, the big bill, the $760 billion bill for the military, the budget, the big military budget. There are 4 amendments that they tried to get in, that Trump tried to get in. 2 of them were kind of for pulling back and 2 for going forward. And here's Greenwald's analysis.
The Trump White House, like the Obama White House, and even the Bush-Cheney White House before it, has a plan to pull back the number of troops, to reduce the number of troops, not to eliminate it entirely, but to reduce it from 35,000 to roughly 25,000. And the Second Amendment was one that was designed to block the Trump administration from doing that for 180 days, effectively to impede the ability of the Trump White House, even just to reduce the troop presence in Germany, let alone eliminate it. The Third Amendment was one that would limit the Trump administration's ability to continue to work with its Saudi allies to bomb Yemen by requiring a series of reports to Congress and placing limits on the funding that Congress authorizes for that bombing campaign. The Fourth Amendment was one which would require a whole series of reports and explanations and rationale as to why the Trump administration wants to withdraw from the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty that was signed in the 1980s under Ronald Reagan with the Soviet Union that Trump has announced he wants to withdraw from. So in 2 of these cases, Yemen and the INF Treaty, it was an attempt to impede Trump from being more militaristic. And in the other 2 cases, Afghanistan and Germany, there was an attempt to impede Trump from taking a more anti-war or anti-imperialist position by withdrawing troops from Afghanistan and Germany. And in all 4 cases, all 4 of those amendments, the pro-war, pro-imperialist position prevailed. The anti-war, anti-imperialist position was defeated, and not only was it defeated, but it was done by an overwhelming majority, a bipartisan consensus, typically with blue state Democrats working hand in hand with the member of Congress from the Republican Party who has become the leader of Republican pro-war hawkishness, Liz Cheney, who, despite having a father who was part and parcel of one of the most disgraced U.S. presidencies in history, whose father was responsible for the worst and most morally atrocious foreign policy disaster of at least the last generation, which was the invasion of Iraq and the creation of torture regimes, continues to exert incredible sway on U.S. foreign policy, even though she's a member of the minority party in the House of Representatives, using the same ideology, the discredited, disgraced ideology from the War on Terror, propagated for years by her father, because she finds so many allies.
I'm glad you brought this up. This isn't. Do you have something else to say about her? Or can I?
No, it's just I think he makes the point, and it's interesting that it's the Democrats who are the current warmongers.
Yes.
And Liz Cheney, so they love her.
This is why I like so much that you brought this up, because there is no difference between the Republicans and the Democrats. They are all captured by the same entities, by the same money. And this was a perfect example of Glenn Greenwald explaining how the Democrats are warmongers. Of course, the Republicans are warmongers. Now, let's look at the other side of the coin. Black Lives Matter had a number of obvious initiatives, things they are calling for which legislation has to be written to dramatically change and make the country more equitable, and a few other things. So I have here a list of 7 bills, or I should say 7 initiatives, because for each one there's both a House bill and a Senate bill. So it's not just it's coordinated. It's not just some bull crap thing that's being thrown up. And they are every single one of these bills is being run by a Republican. We have defunding the police. Yes, we have HB 1900 and SB 23, both put in by Republicans. Bail reform. We have Murray with HB 20, Huffman with SB 21. Election integrity. We have 2 Republicans, HB 6, SB 7. COVID business liability protections. Ooh, that one died. Gee, I wonder why. Then we have ERCOT reform in Texas. Republicans. Sure, ERCOT, that's our energy system. Yeah, we want to reform that. We got to turn that into a national grid, stupid Texans. And winterization of general facilities. They're all the same. It doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat. The whole system has truly been jacked. I don't know if there's any honest person left.
Now, this is in Texas?
Yes.
Who is the Republican that is for defunding the police that's sponsoring the bill?
Oh, hold on a second. Let me just bring that back up. Here we go. For defunding the police, you said?
Yeah.
HB 1900 is Goldman, and SB 23 is Huffman.
Goldman?
Mm-hmm.
What part of Texas is he from?
Oh, I don't know.
I'll look him up.
You're asking me questions I was not prepared to answer.
That's
it's a little too deep for me.
Too granular.
But isn't that just the point? Is that this whole red, blue, right, left, conservative, liberal. We're all being fooled. There's absolutely no difference between the two. No difference.
Well,
yeah, I think.
I think there's a lot of difference between these warring factions. So,
in what way?
Not everybody would sign on to that. If some guy says he's a Republican and he's for defunding the police, it doesn't sound like he's a Republican.
No, well,
in fact, when you listen to Whitmore, the ex-New Jersey governor from 20 years ago, she's going on and on. I'm thinking, why don't you just become a Democrat? I've switched parties. I was a Democrat most of my life. Then I became a Republican. Then I became an independent, claiming I was a libertarian. Then I became non-affiliated. It's not that hard to do.
Yeah, again, this has nothing to do with I just say my point is, of course, there's differences, but in general, the money talks. Isn't that how it's always run?
Well, yes, but
the money talks. Yeah, I just don't see any other. Well, let's talk about something else here, because we have some good feedback from producers, and that's what's happening in Israel. And the first thing I need to say is that the New York Times reported that Israel leaked false information to 2 Washington Post reporters who are, it says, with Israeli and State Department connections. Wow. So the Washington Post has reporters with Israeli and State Department connections. Well,
that's a shocker.
Yeah. This is the New York Times writing it too. saying that they put out false info, which was one of the 3 pieces of information we had from the previous show, which was from the military contact saying, they're rolling tanks in, they've got special forces on the ground. Turned out to be completely bullcrap, not true. And now it turns out that might have been information that was leaked to Washington Post reporters with Israeli and State Department connections to lure Hamas underground before Israel bombed. So that just shows you the level of real true disinformation that's going on. It's not what you're hearing on a podcast. But from our producer who lives in Israel, he has a very different take. He says everything that happened in Israel in the last 2 weeks was driven by the following. Hamas used activists in the West Bank to ignite riots in Jerusalem in the last 2 weeks. And the reason for this, next Saturday, there was supposed to be an election in the Palestinian territories. Now, we hadn't heard about that, now had we? I didn't know this was taking place. It's actually the first one since 2005, which is supposed to be for 4 years, unsurprisingly. Abbas, who was the president of the northern half of the Palestinian state, he lost in 2005, but since his people had the advantage of already ruling the West Bank, he retained power there. While his people in Gaza, which is the southern half of the state, were thrown off the roofs by Hamas, who won that election. So they announced late April that it's been postponed indefinitely. Hamas is pissed at the election being postponed for the 50th time in a decade and a half. So they're building up a war to drive Palestinians and Israeli Arabs to the streets to attack Abbas and Israel and crown the terrorist organization as their official leader. And he has a lot more that I've expanded in the show notes. That to me sounds, now we're cooking with gas. When there's
there's another thing he says in this note, which I want to read.
Yes, please.
Because we both kind of agreed, or at least I did, thought this might be the case. He says, first of all, your favorite theory about Netanyahu being behind the fighting can't be further away from the truth. During the last 12 years, since he reassumed the PM's office, he proved to be a very big coward who never starts wars for personal gains, not even when everyone asks him to do it. Sorry to spoil the plot, but I was watching Netanyahu was on this morning on it was the one with the CBS show Face the Nation, and he was going on about the bombing of the building that had the AP in it, which I thought was somewhat funny, which I put in the picture in the newsletter, that thing getting hit, and he just felt that the news media was, and this guy also feels the same way. He says that these guys that are feeding us information is the Israeli M5M's just as bad as our news media.
Yeah, of course.
We're just not getting anything accurate from anyone. So, I mean, our feet on the ground reports are nice, but, they're not journalists. They just tell us what's going on, which tends to be better than what the journalists don't give us anything.
I have another one. Which is more generalized from one of our producers, but I think it's probably just as valid. The free world depends upon a strong America. The bad guys smell weakness. He's also in Israel, by the way. The Biden administration is signaling weakness and emboldening all the players, including Iran, their proxies, including Islamic Jihad and Hamas, the Palestinian Authority, China, and Russia. Everybody's trying to get a piece of the Middle East. Under Trump, we had 4 years of relative calm. Now I have to get a gun to feel safe walking into Jerusalem. I know you watch Sky News in Australia. Australians are scared to death of a weak USA. They're up against China alone. It's true. I know that you get it. Having lived outside the USA for years, most Americans don't realize how much the rest of the world relies on a free and strong USA for safety and security in their countries. I think that's true, too.
Yeah, that is an argument that's made constantly, and you get somebody like, that's why you didn't want to elect Biden.
Yes, and here we go. And we're off to the races.
Right on time.
But true about Australia, man, they are fighting the Belt and
they're
Road.
the ones going after Biden.
Who, the Australians?
I mean, all my clips, the anti-Biden clips, don't come from the United States.
Well, let's play them. Let's do some anti-Biden stuff. I'm in.
I don't have them. Well, I played one on the last show, which was the one with Alex, Alan Jones.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, of course. That all the good shit about Biden only comes from Alan Jones in Australia. He single-handedly is our Australian news source. That's about all I get from people. Oh, you got to watch this guy.
Here's a clip about the AP building bombing. This is Israel levels AP building.
Israel demolished a building in Gaza that housed the Associated Press and Al Jazeera. Israel claimed Palestinian militants also used the building. The AP said in a statement it was shocked and horrified by the attack. And President Biden has since spoken with both Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. NPR's Daniel Estrin is in Jerusalem and is with us now with the latest. Daniel, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Michelle, for having me.
First, if you would tell us more about what happened to the AP and Al Jazeera building.
This is a 12-story building in Gaza City. AP says it's been there for a decade and a half. They have covered 3 previous Gaza-Israel wars from there. And today, the owner of the building got a call from the Israeli military saying, "Evacuate now, we're going to target." So AP staffers said they ran down 11 flights of stairs and watched from afar. And Al Jazeera filmed the building owner pleading with an Israeli official on the phone, saying, "Give us just a few more minutes to get more cameras out of the building." And then an hour after the warning came, 3 missiles landed on the high-rise. There was a big ball of fire, and the building collapsed completely. Now, Israel says Hamas used this building as well for a research and development center. Israel did not provide proof. I, before joining NPR, was a correspondent with the Associated Press, and I know the staff in Gaza very well. And one of their correspondents is Faris Akram. Just yesterday, his family's farmhouse in Gaza was hit in an Israeli bombing, and he wrote a piece saying that the AP office was the only place in Gaza where he felt somewhat safe.
I smell Pulitzer!
So the Hamas probably did have an office in there, or bunch of guys, and
they're going to
AP doesn't need 12 stories of reporters.
There's going to be books about this event from these AP reporters. There's going to be interviews, Pulitzer prize-winning journalism for the attack on the press.
Yeah.
So what are they doing there? What are their offices doing there? There must be a spook outfit. What the hell do they have 12 floors of AP news there for?
And Al Jazeera. There's a third group in there, too.
More.
It sounds very spooky. Yeah. Meanwhile, you go to Democracy Now!, you get this kind of report. This is and you have to remember, Democracy Now! Is very pro-Palestinian.
Yes.
So the reporting goes like this.
Violence is also spreading across Israel, with Jewish mobs attacking Palestinians in mixed Jewish and Arab communities. Extremist Israeli settlers were filmed attacking Palestinian-owned shops in a Tel Aviv suburb. Another harrowing video shows ultra-nationalist Israelis dragging a man they believe to be an Arab from his car and beating him mercilessly. Some settlers were filmed on live television chanting "Death to Arabs." Israeli media compared the violence to lynchings.
Ooh, nice. So, how does Amy stay on the air with this anti-Semitic trope?
She's anti-Israel, not anti-Semitic.
It's the same thing in America. If you're for Israel, then you might as well be an anti-Semite. Just ask the Squad.
Well, the thing is, she'll have all these both Israeli and American Jews on bitching and moaning about Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a thing that you do. She gets away with it. And she, the Palestinian plight is the Palestinians, you got to remember, is a checklist item for the liberals.
Well, and why? What?
You tell me. I've been watching these guys argue with each other since I was a kid at Cal. And then you have these Israelis and Palestinians in front of the ASUC building, and a big crowd around him, and the two guys are yelling at each other. And this has been going on since back in the day. It's always been going on.
Right, but the way the Squad and the extreme liberal left politicians in the United States speak, but also this is in Europe too. It's always about the imperialist. What is the other word? Colonial state of Israel.
Yeah,
and I think that's code for something.
It's code for I'm a communist.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, oh, No Agenda.
We do have a few people to thank for show 1347. Very few, actually. A very few people to thank today. We have very.
How did the newsletter?
light.
How did the newsletter go? Did you get? Did people receive it? Did it go into spam boxes? Did we learn?
No,
anything?
actually, this newsletter seemed to go normal.
Oh, good. Okay, that's good.
But I will say this: I probably should write this up somehow. But people who use Proton Mail, even though this newsletter goes into many spam boxes, they still get it. It's not like missing in action like it is with Gmail.
Mm-hmm.
And also Apple. Apple Mail is really bad.
Yeah, we discussed that. Apple's got all kinds of problems these days. They're not a great service company, face it. Go to the Genius Bar.
Yeah, bitch.
Yeah.
If you subscribe to a newsletter, the mailing system should know that you're a subscriber because of frequency or the type of content or the fact that you're not rejecting it. And get it, put it in your main box. It just doesn't take a genius to figure out how to do this, but they don't care because they're just scanning your email for ideas to how to spam you with advertising.
Yeah. And then and you're in direct competition with them.
Yeah. That's another thing. That's the worst part of it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Eric Guth is our first donor, $100 from Los Angeles, California. Then we have Aloysia. Is that Aloysia?
Alyosha. Alicia. I would say it's Alicia. Maybe an O got in there by mistake.
It's probably Alicia. Is the way she pronounced it. Wetton in Spearwood, Washington.
Oh wait, it said Western Australia. WA Western Australia. Yeah.
No wonder I never heard of the town. Yes, Spearwood, Western Australia. Sorry. Sir Jim Zuckel in Beverly Hills, 6969. Timothy Lipton in Eden, Utah, 6969. Speed Skater in Houston, Texas, 6913. Matthew Messer in Fair Oaks, California, 6666. Baronet Sir Phenom, Appleton, Wisconsin, 5777. Christina Henry in Mishawka, Indiana, 5669. Eric Futter in London, UK, 5510. Kip Hoffman in Crestview, Florida.
Kip sent in a note. Hold on a second. I got the note here.
He did.
Handwritten, double nickels on the dime, 5510. To John and Adam, my name is Kip Hoffman. I want to wish my son Matthew a happy 33rd birthday on May 29th. So we're well in time. Matthew got to meet Adam at the Vegas Super Spreader event. Oh, yes, of course. Oh, very nice. And say hi to Matthew for us. Absolutely.
Paola Valencia Juarez. How do you think? How's that first name pronounced? Paola
Valencia Juarez.
She seems to be in Switzerland. $55. And now we have $50 donors. Name and location. We're almost done.
Hold on. This is interesting. Emergency Karma. Karma work for a new job. Now we need Karma to find a place to live in Zurich, Switzerland. ASAP. Send us housing, Karma. We'll put that at the end for you, Paola. There's more people who need it for sure.
Onward with the $50 donors. This is how short the list is. Very short.
Yeah.
Salty Ketchup came in, $50. Sir Chris Slewinski in Sherwood Park, Alberta. Brandon Manuel in North Bay, Ontario. Sir Alexander in Berlin, Deutschland. John Camp in Antlers, Oklahoma. Sir John, I think. Philip Bailu in Louisville, Kentucky. David Shalona in Madisonville, Louisiana. Sir Kevin Dills in Huntersville, North Carolina. Tony Smith in Fort Worth, Texas. Jamie Hillard in Newman, Georgia. Brian Henderson in Indianapolis, Indiana. Eric Solano in Howell, New Jersey. Another town I never heard of. Sir Spud the Mighty's back with from Marietta, Georgia. And last but not least, Sir Jerry Wingenroth in Saugus. I want to thank these people for making this show possible.
Yeah, shorter list than usual, indeed. But thank you so much. Anybody above $50, we mentioned 200 and above is our executive and associate executive producership. At the $300 level, we'll read notes and your feedback and your interests and your whatever it is, really, because you are the producer. Since we don't have any actors and actresses for you to hang out with on set, we have that small perk. Also, people under 50, thank you so much. Typically, they're on one of our many subscriptions. You can find out all about them at Dvorak.org/NA. As always, it's your time, it's your talent, it's your treasure that keeps this podcast going. No creepy money from corporations, from China or the pharmaceutical industry. Although we could probably do pretty good if we were advertising boner pills. That seems to work on podcasts, but no. I don't know if Pfizer's ever going to contact us. So until that time, please remember
Seems unlikely.
Support us at
Dvorak.org/NA.
And here's your Jobs Karma.
Jobs.
Joe.
You've got karma.
Well, if you thought the donations were short, how about the birthday list? Like, no one was born around this time, it seems. We do say happy birthday to Tom Turner, who is celebrating today, and Kip Hoffman, who says happy birthday to his son Matthew, who turns 33 on May 29th. And then a very...
33.
What did I say?
No, 33. It's another 33.
Another 33. They're all 33. Including Dame Jennifer, kind of. I'm not sure if she's 33. She should be. She celebrates tomorrow. Make sure you get on noagendasocial.com or just at her at noagendasocial.com. Say happy birthday to our very own Dame Jennifer, celebrating 33 years tomorrow. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah. No agenda meetups.
Yeah, we know what you're saying. It's meetup. It really is. The No Agenda meetups are going crazy everywhere. People are loving them. The whole month of May is stacked with meetups. We've got a special one in the Netherlands we're going to talk about. But first, a report from Memphis.
We're here at the Memphis No Agenda Meetup, and I'm here with
Ted O'Brien, coming to you from the Memphis Meetup. I'd like to extend an invitation to every No Agenda listener out there to join us for our next meetup. And it doesn't matter if you're a knight, a dame, or a douchebag. You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Naomi. I'm from Japan. I love Memphis in the morning.
And I'm Ty McMahon, welcoming you to the Memphis Meetup for all you Memphis listeners and those in the metro area. And we want to say, in the morning!
Another beautiful group hanging out, just having a good time with each other. And there's one coming up in Kansas City. They sent a promo for us.
That's right, Gitmo Nation KC, Cerbilo's back, so we're meeting up for a second round of Courage in St. Joe. Free pool and happy hour prices till 5 at the Felix Street Pub.
Right here, Spencer, it's the Kansas City meetup, not the St. Joe meetup.
Yes, I promise we'll be back in KC next month. But St. Joe gets another chance because... That's this Saturday, May 22nd, so RSVP at noagendameetups.com.
That's right, everybody. We are the No Agenda Show. We'll put anybody on the air. We're proud of it. Here's the meetups happening today. Denver Area City Park Sunshine Junkies Meetup. You know who you are. 6:30 at the City Park Denver Museum of Nature and Science. Also today, Charlotte's Thirsty Third Thursday monthly meetup, 7 o'clock at Ed's Tavern. And a special announcement for July. I want to let everybody know about this. This will be between July 2nd and 4th. I'm not sure if that's a range of dates or a date in the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. The government, apparently, the local government maybe, but the government has approved a No Agenda Lowlands business meetup in a hotel at Rijs, Friesland in the Netherlands. The hotel owners are apparently producers, or at least listeners. They are very aware of the show, and they have said, okay, we'll clear out the whole hotel for the meetup. And so everyone can do whatever the hell they want. Special permission is given. You can walk around with a mask, without a mask. I think clothes are even optional. It is, after all, the Netherlands. So please check that out before May 26th. You need to RSVP to attend. Sounds like it's going to be a groovy, rockin' good time. For the rest of this month, the 22nd, we have Chicago and Long Beach, along with Kansas City, Missouri, as you just heard, Springfield, Missouri, Poplar Bluff, Missouri. It's a big state. On the 23rd, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Myrtle Beach, Florida, Nashville, Tennessee on the 27th, Santa Ynez on the 28th, and Knoxville, Tennessee as well. The 29th, Rhode Island, Houston, and Amarillo, Texas, both on the list for May 29th. The 30th is Brisbane, Australia. And then we get into June. It's going to be jam-packed this summer, so make sure you find out where there's a meetup near you. If there isn't one, and you still want to hang out with people who generally just are not triggered and will have a civil conversation with you and you might learn something, then go to noagendameetups.com and start your own. It's easy and it's like a party.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. You want to be where everybody feels the same. It's like a party.
All right. ISOs. You got an ISO?
I got two.
Okay.
We can try
Massachusetts. Massachusetts.
That is funny.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. All right. Yeah, I like it. That's funny.
Welcome, Randy.
Massachusetts is better. I mean, I have two. You heard this one.
Follow all the rules, all the time, no exceptions.
Kind of like that. There's also...
So burn in hell, burn in hell, burn in hell!
I like that one, too. It's a little more...
Have we used that one before?
Maybe. I don't know. It was a new one. But if
that's from a new show? Wow.
No.
He said it a million times.
No, someone sent it to me, so it may be an old ISO. So it's very possible. Well, I think the two candidates are clearly...
Welcome, Randy.
No, not Welcome, Randy. What's the other one? Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Follow all the rules, all the time, no exceptions.
That's too long normally, but I like it so much, I think we should use it.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can pump it up a little bit, give it a little more volume.
Yeah, it's kind of muddy.
Yeah, I should have probably worked on that before. Okay, all right. Let's see, I do have, I think there's three things actually, before we split this popsicle joint. I want to just make everyone aware that this is going on. It's being discredited as a bunch of nut jobs and crazies, but it just is so irritating. It just won't go away.
Trump's big lie is also fueling efforts to restrict voting access in Republican-controlled state legislatures across the country, including Florida and Texas this week, and a hand recount of 2.1 million ballots in Maricopa County, Arizona.
There's accusations that 40,000 ballots were flown in
to Arizona,
and it was stuffed into the box. Okay, and it came from the southeast part of the world, Asia. Okay, and what they're doing is to find out if there's bamboo in the paper.
So this is the
brother.
I know, but it's not going away, and people are very upset about this recount and what they're looking at, and will it become anything? I don't know, but it's irritating to a lot of people, and this the cyber ninjas, whoever they're called.
I like that bramble in the paper.
A bamboo. I think it's bamboo in the paper.
Oh, bamboo. Yeah, bamboo in the paper.
Yeah, so they're now checking to see if the paper stock was different, and we had a lot of reports of weirdness going on. So what I'm hoping is that we figure out if at least the next time we vote in a year and a half, maybe it'll be fair. We keep seeing these idiots being reelected. At a certain point, does that mean our country is just full of morons? Possible, or is there something else going on? I mean, it's incredible. Isn't anyone pissed off at these people in California or New York? Just keep reelecting them?
You'd think so, but if you ask around, no. That's the irony to it. You think so because you're like, this guy's a moron. This guy's an idiot. This guy's a stooge. He's a dupe. Mm-hmm. He's a doofus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I voted for him. But don't you think he's a stooge and a doofus? He's better than the Republican.
At least he's not a Republican. Yeah, so you're right. Morons.
Not a Republican.
Yeah, you're right. Morons. Yeah, they're morons. This story is also not going away.
New details about the mysterious ailment known as Havana syndrome. The New York Times reports that 130 Americans who served overseas have been affected, prompting the Biden administration to step up its investigation. Some people have suffered long-term brain injuries after experiencing the phenomenon, which involves sound waves, pressure, or heat. The initial cases were in China and Cuba, but sources say some of the latest cases were in Europe. One recent case involved a military officer and his son. Intelligence officials have not determined if the incidents are attacks. Some claim Russia is to blame.
Oh, Russia. Not China.
I love a good kicker. No, it's China, Cuba, but no, some official sources say, according to people familiar with the matter and the president's thinking, believe it's Russia. But nothing is quite as... I was going to say, nothing is quite as bad.
I have 2.5 clips.
No, I was going to give you my last half clip.
Your last half clip?
Yeah, and then I have you said 2.5 clips. I got my last half clip, and then we'll finish up with yours. It's a half clip because it's only 26 seconds.
Next, the first brand of coffee made without beans is set to go on sale this year.
So it's being labeled or brewed in a lab by scientists. A startup called Atomo Coffee insists the coffee will taste like the real thing, but instead of beans, it's made with sunflower seeds and watermelon seeds. Then it goes through a special chemical process.
Now, it does have caffeine. The company is targeting environmentally conscious consumers who want coffee that's not linked to deforestation.
Beautiful. Yum.
I can't wait to
How's
try
coffee linked to deforestation all of a sudden?
Oh, man, this is all about this is all the Green New Deal, climate change, Great Reset. But
coffee's beans a plant. You pick the beans off of it.
Yeah.
The plant stays there. You're not tearing it out.
It's not fair trade, man.
There's a lot of fair trade coffee. They're trying to put the little guy out of business is what they're trying to do.
Yes, of course.
This is big coffee at work.
Ooh, big caffeine. Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, Starbucks. I blame them. There's something. They got something to do with it.
I'm writing that one down.
All right, so here's my only. I have one. I take it back. I don't have 2.5 clips. I have 1 clip and 2 half clips.
All right.
Because you set the standard for 21 seconds. Neither one of my half clips are. The one's 21. But we got to remember that, Trump was going to do this and was going to do that after he got out of office. He never, set up a network, a TV network. Of course, he never said he was going to do that. He may have joked around about it, but the mainstream, he's going to do this, he's going to do that because of Fox.
With the Mercers.
Fox is no good anymore.
The Mercers are going to fund it.
Yeah, and the Mercers.
He's going to buy One American News.
And then Shelley Adelson would be the other one. He's got plenty of money. Shelley could do it. Got more money than the Murdochs.
Yep.
But now he became a blogger. And now he's a blogger, but according to MSNBC, if you listen to this Melby Chai, whatever this guy's name is, he goes on and on. They ridicule the president for his blog, and they claim it's live journal.
Ooh.
They didn't need to pretend.
Or blog or some crap, but here we go.
They didn't need to pretend or lie that they were going to create an app or a tech platform. If they put millions into it, that would have been an interesting thing. What does it tell you that he is going straight Blogspot, straight live journal, straight back to 95, baby?
Oh, my God. Oh, straight back to 95, baby.
Back to 95, baby.
Well, the reality is he couldn't put it together. He didn't have the access to the kind of engineers and venture capital, quite frankly. Perhaps his friend Peter Thiel refused to help him out in that regard. He could easily have helped him out in terms of putting that together, but he couldn't put it together. Really what this shows you is how much Donald Trump needed the platform of Twitter, how much of the conservative movement needs access to Facebook to really push their message. Without Twitter, as Franklin Foer, the writer for The Atlantic, said, Donald Trump started out as Cecil the Lion, and he ended up as president of the United States. That was entirely the result of Twitter. It is something that he learned, quite frankly, when he did the birther conspiracy. And he was able to use Twitter to move that conspiracy theory and get the media to cover it. Now, nobody covers almost anything he has to say. And that will basically be true of this blog that he's putting out. It's just going to be another blog on the internet, uncovered by everybody except for a few people on the right-wing media. It's really very sad and pathetic, but that's kind of where Trump has ended up. He's just ended up as just another blogger on the internet, not the most powerful man in what was once the most powerful part of the United States.
Wow. That's the best they got?
Just a blogger.
You know,
poor guy.
They should have, the way the report should have ended was, like, hello, 1995. Like, really? Like, what's next for him? A podcast?
No, they're not doing that yet.
Yeah, not
That's
yet.
Coming.
Not yet. Oh, my God. Actually,
so I will,
but if you look at from the desktop of Donald Trump, you know, it's an alert mechanism. That's not such a dumb idea. You know, he's got like a bat signal. So when he posts something new, you get a text message, you get an email. Yeah, I think it's not that bad.
Yeah, well, the emails were worth money.
Yeah.
Email addresses.
Yeah.
You can collect millions of them.
Yes.
So I got 2 AF clips left, and one of them is just a 15-second climate worse. This is Amy's, you know, they have to put something in every show about this, and there's no news here. This is not a news announcement, nothing. It's just a comment in the middle of the show.
A new report from the Environmental Protection Agency shows the U.S. is facing unprecedented challenges from the climate catastrophe, including bigger and longer wildfire seasons, more frequent heat waves, and warmer waters with increasing flooding.
Now a climate catastrophe.
But that's not what we agreed on, Amy. It was supposed to be climate emergency.
And crisis.
You can't keep these people in check.
So it's a climate catastrophe. Okay. Now, the last one here is, I have the 2 clips about the cicadas, and it's a report on what they're going to do and when they're going to do it. Well, they should have emerged by now, especially because of global warming. They were coming out early and earlier and earlier. But
where are they?
So they haven't come up, but they've been allotting time on NPR, I think. Now, I only have the first few seconds of this because that's all you need to get a clue about how this report's going. So they got like 10 minutes but there's nothing going on with the cicadas. We can't eat them because they're not emerging. And so this is the kind of reporting we're now getting.
Robert Smith.
Stacy.
How's it going? What are you doing?
I am listening for the cicadas. We're here in Prospect Park.
Yes.
And they're supposed to emerge at some point after 17 years with a distinctive sound, and I can't hear them yet.
Yeah, I can't hear them either. I've been kind of waiting for the cicadas too. I think we might be slightly too far north.
Brother. It's like the Groundhog Day coverage.
This is your NPR.
That's right. Hey, send them some money, get a tote bag, and that kind of programming. Or think about what kind of value you got from the past 3 hours here on this show. Send us a donation. Make it a number that's meaningful to you. That's the only way value can be determined, and we do appreciate the high value some people put on our work. And we do the same for you. That's why we're going to be back here Thursday bringing you another episode of the best podcast in the universe. Before we go, though, we do have, next up on NoAgendaStream.com, Grumpy Old Ben's. And speaking of cicadas, we got Fletcher with an end-of-show cicada mix. We have Tom Starkweather. And we have, who do we have? The sound guy, Steve. Coming to you from Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star States. Opportunity Zone number 33. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I remain, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Thursday right here on No Agenda. Remember to support us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until then, adios, mofos! And such.
Sure.
Starting next week, billions, if not trillions, of tiny invaders will begin their assault on nearly all of the country east of the Mississippi River. They've been laying in wait for 17 years until the time and temperature is right to begin their deafening descent upon millions of Americans.
We are talking about brood 10 cicadas. Big cicada saute.
They're a great protein source, you know.
Brood 10 cicadas.
I'm excited to eat some cicadas.
Big cicada saute.
I think this is a beautiful bounty, a cornucopia.
So if you're a cicada, this is a really exciting time then.
These cicadas will become a feast for many of nature's other creatures. Even some brave humans. Big cicada saute. Big cicada. Big cicada saute. These insects have been underground that whole time, making quite the scene. Big cicada saute. The cicadas will emerge from the ground, shed their skins.
I'm excited to eat some cicadas.
Big cicada. Big cicada saute.
I understand you eat cicadas?
We are totally committed to carrying out our program. Our program is cultural revolution through a total assault on the culture which makes use of every tool, every energy, every media we can get our collective hands on.
We're going to be working closely with Russia.
Our great problem, of course, is communism.
This is about everybody paying their fair share.
One dedicated communist in a key spot can wreck our hopes and weaken our nation.
What kind of country we're going to be? We're going to be in a different world.
Lying doesn't mean the same thing to a real communist that it means to you and me.
It's time to remember that we, the people, are the government, not some force in a distant capital.
Communism is the scavenger.
We're better equipped to do this than any nation in the world.
The face of communism in America.
The sun is setting on American democracy. You know it, I know it. It's time to fix it.
The whole world is sick.
I want to tell you directly that China's own constitution is a key aspect of economic and political path to prosperity. Look, I do not pretend to have the answers, but I believe that greater freedom can threaten economic progress by undermining social stability. We are a nation in decline. I have never been more confident.
America's finished, my friend.
You're a damn liar, man. I know.
Tonight,
nothing.
the unmasking of America, embraced with both celebration.
Woo! I'm super excited about that.
And hesitation.
That, of course, prompted an abrupt change on mask guidance.
Americans who are eager to enjoy spring weather are receiving some mixed messages about wearing masks.
Tonight, celebration and hesitation over showing face.
Mounting confusion across the country following the CDC's new guidance that people who are fully vaccinated can ditch the mask in most settings.
What we've done is we've empowered the American people to make their own decisions about their own health. People who are unvaccinated should not be taking off their masks.
They will no longer be needed for the vaccinated if cleared by local authorities.
We don't want this to turn into sort of like a show me your papers moment. We'll just have to trust what people tell us.
And how to verify the vaccinated.
Our client's going to be upset if we ask them for proof.
We didn't want to be the mask police in the early portions of this pandemic, and we certainly don't want to be the vaccination police.
Part of it is that I feel like I'm going to have to rewire myself so that when I see somebody out in the world who's not wearing a mask, I don't instantly think you are a threat.
Let's not get too uptight about it. We'll go with the flow.
I feel liberated.
Sure. I mean, last week they tell you everybody must wear a mask, and now 2 days later they're saying take off your mask. I don't trust any of it.
I think maybe it's best to keep it on until everyone else collectively decides to do so.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Follow all the rules, all the time, no exceptions.